Good morning, colleagues. This is our second sitting for the Governing Council. As we have a packed day today, but irrespectively, we are going to try to finish our program before lunchtime or by lunchtime. Therefore, I'm going to suggest to you colleagues, those who will be having a chance to speak, who will be given the floor to speak, please try to be concise to whatever issue that you'll be addressing. And as you do that, I will suggest that we begin now with item 9 of our agenda, which is the IPU priority theme for 2025, and will be followed by item 7, which is talking about amendments to the IPU statutes and rules. And then we will go to item 8, the situation of certain parliaments, which we had skipped when we first met on Sunday. So, dear colleagues, you will remember that over the past few years, we have adopted a practice of dedicating each year to a specific priority theme on which we focus our efforts. You will remember that in 2024, the priority theme was peace and security. This was included in particular in the effort to ensure mediation and the use of parliamentary diplomacy with a view to contributing to the resolution of the multiplicity of conflicts that we witnessed and we have kept witnessing in the past few years. In recognition of the 30th anniversary of the Beijing Declaration, you agreed to dedicate 2025 to increased efforts in favor of advancing gender equality. I will now take this opportunity to give the floor to the Secretary General to brief us on the ongoing initiatives related to the theme for this 2025. Mr. Secretary General, you have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Madam President. Good morning to all of you. I am pleased to report on this agenda item, and I just want to repeat what you have said, that this is a pivotal year. This is a landmark year for gender equality for the global community. We are celebrating 30 years of the Beijing Conference, Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action, which is the global blueprint for promoting gender equality worldwide. We are also celebrating the 25th anniversary of the United Nations Security Council 1625 on women, peace and security. We are celebrating the 10th anniversary of the Sustainable Development Goals, which includes SDG 5 on gender equality. But above all, we are celebrating 40 years of the IPU women's movement or gender equality movement within the organization. And so we are very happy that this gives us an opportunity to step up our action in promoting gender equality, a world that is informed by both men and women. But we also are not ignorant of the fact that we are currently witnessing very worrisome, disquieting trends in the world. There is a slowdown in progress regarding women's parliamentary representation. We also see that there are many attempts, and actually there are actions that are being taken to roll back progress that has been made in women's representation. So we want to use this landmark year to strengthen our resolve to promote gender equality, to push back on pushback when it comes to women's rights. And that is why you, in your infinite wisdom, Madam President, you and your colleagues decided that 2025 should be the year of gender equality within the Inter-Parliamentary Union. And if we look at what has happened during the past 3 months of 2025, a lot has been done to set the stage for more robust action by the global parliamentary community. We have recently launched a report that covers 30 years of women's parliamentary representation. In that report, which we launched just before International Women's Day, you will see that progress has been made in the world when it comes to women's political representation. In 1995, during Beijing, women accounted for just 11% in parliament. Today, it's 27%, but that's not enough. When we look at the elections that took place in 2024, we saw that women's parliamentary representation grew by just 0.3% out of the 74 elections that took place. So this is clear. It's clear that we need to do more. Madam President, you and your colleagues, you launched the map on women in politics during your visit to New York for the Commission on the Status of Women. This map contains data on the representation of women in Parliament, but also the presence of women in top executive positions around the world. During this assembly, Madam President, we have had the pleasure of launching a report on sexism, harassment, and sexual assault or sexual violence against women in parliaments, focusing on the Asia-Pacific region. That report was launched, I think it was yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, and it follows on similar reports that have been prepared for Europe and Africa. Madam President, we have also held 2 landmark events this year on gender equality. First of all, the parliamentary meeting that took place at the session of the Commission on the Status of Women in New York in March. You presided over that meeting, Madam President, which was organized in conjunction with the United Nations Agency for the Promotion of Gender Equality, UN Women. And then we did go to Mexico thereafter, Madam President, where we held the historic conference, global conference of women parliamentarians. You will be receiving a report on that conference, so I don't want to go into its details, but I am particularly pleased with the outcome of the deliberations. Members of Council, these are things that we have done, and I believe that they just set the stage for us to do more. So we would not want to rest on our laurels. We want to do more. The year is still very young, and so we have time to prosecute our noble agenda. And that's why at this assembly, we have also launched the campaign on gender equality, the 10 actions that parliaments and parliamentarians are called upon to take in order to promote gender equality. First of all, promoting parity in parliament and politics, encouraging gender-sensitive institutions, and combating gender-based violence and discrimination. So those are the priorities that you find in the campaign, which I ask all of you to endorse, but more importantly, to help implement across the world in the interest of promoting equitable management of societies as a whole. So we want to build on these commitments, Madam President, to make more progress. And internally in the IPU, we have also been looking at the statutes and rules, and later this morning you will be adopting amendments that are intended to make our rules increasingly gender sensitive, mainstreaming gender equality in the different processes of the Inter-Parliamentary Union. We hope that we can build on this momentum and move forward, Madam President. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Secretary General. Do we have any colleague who would like to take the floor? I don't see any hands, so colleagues, we not. Thank you very much. So now we will go to agenda item number 7, amendments to the IPU statutes and rules. Dear colleagues, the working group on the amendments to the IPU statutes and rules briefed the Executive Committee on a regular basis on the work you entrusted to it. The working group endorsed a number of proposals related to first, gender and geopolitical rotation of the vice presidents of the IPU, 2, proposals from the Bureau of Women Parliamentarians to advance with making gender parity a norm across all the work carried here at the IPU, 3, greater clarity in the selection process for an emergency item, 4, more inclusive composition of delegations attending the IPU assemblies, and 5th, stronger youth perspective in the IPU resolutions, and lastly, harmonization of deadlines for future amendments and for production of the summary records of IPU meetings. All these proposals, dear colleagues, were sent to you on 6th January 2025, according to the statutory provision, and made available on the IPU website, as well as in the set of your documents. The Secretariat received 2 sub-amendments following the dispatch in January 2025, which also form part of the set of documents which you have. This demonstrates the overall support of the IPU membership of these amendments, which were shared to you in advance. Concerning the proposal to have resolutions for 2 emergency items, the Executive Committee suggested to experiment with this at the 150th Assembly, following which the Working Group on Amendments to the Statutes and Rules would have reconvened to consider potential future amendments. I wish to remind you, colleagues, that at its session on 7th April, at this Assembly, the Assembly decided not to go on with this experiment. So on your behalf, colleagues, I would like to congratulate the working group and its chair, the Speaker of Zambia, Speaker Nelly Muti, on their work and dedication, as well as the support that they have received from the Secretariat, led by the Secretary General himself, and Ambassador Ander Philip. So we really appreciate. So, colleagues, may I take it that you wish to approve the set of amendments submitted for your consideration? I don't see any hand. It is so decided. Thank you very much. A second set of amendments to the statutes and rules of the Assembly will be submitted for approval by the Assembly later today. So now, colleagues, we are going to go to item 8 of the agenda, which relates to questions relating to the IPU membership and the observer status. You remember we had already dealt with A and C, so we remained with B, the situation of certain parliaments. Dear colleagues, the Executive Committee examined the situation of certain parliaments and general political developments in some countries. It made a number of recommendations on these cases for consideration by the Governing Council. I wish to invite the Secretary General to present an overview of these situations and what the EXCOM has decided. Secretary General, please, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Madam President. There is a document, I believe, that has been circulated on the situation of certain members, and that document includes information on parliaments that are not functioning, transitional parliaments, and we also give you an indication of countries where the political situation is impacting on the functioning of Parliament. So I propose, Madam President, that I don't go into details regarding the situation of all these countries, but just to give you a gist of what the Executive Committee agreed as the way forward for these countries. And if you go to the first category, parliaments that are not functioning, in relation to Afghanistan, we noted, the executive committee noted that no major progress had taken place in the political situation in the country, and that the situation of the parliament, parliament that was in place before the takeover of the Taliban had not changed. And so you decided, Madam President, you and your colleagues, the executive committee, decided to recommend to Council that they maintain the position of the Council in respect of Afghanistan. That is, Afghanistan continues to participate in the work of the IPU in a non-voting and non-elective capacity. So, Madam President, you may want to call your colleagues to take a decision on that.
Colleagues, the proposal in respect of Afghanistan, we maintain the same status? I don't see any hand, so I take it that we all agree. Sorry? What? Who is it?
No hand.
They had raised their hand, but they stopped.
Okay.
Okay, it has stopped. So I take it that we approve. The current status continues. Thank you very much, Secretary General.
Thank you, Madam President. We move on to Myanmar. That is virtually in the same category and same situation as Afghanistan. There's no functioning parliament in Myanmar since the military takeover in that country. But you have taken the decision, Governing Council, to recognize the body that has been established to represent the Myanmar people, called the Committee to Represent the People of Myanmar. You have recognized them as the interlocutor with the IPU, and you have granted them the same status as Afghanistan. That is, they should participate in the work of the IPU in a non-voting and non-elective capacity. Madam President, you and your colleagues recommended to Council that this decision be maintained.
Colleagues, we maintain the same status? I don't see any hand. Thank you so much. It is so decided, Secretary General.
Madam President, I just want to mention that in respect of these countries, you have amended the rules to write off the areas owed by these countries and to cease assessing them for the regular budget of the IPU, given that they do not have the access to the resources of their countries to pay their contribution to the organization. And the assessed contributions will kick in again when you have a fully functioning parliament. And so we move on to Bangladesh. Bangladesh, you all have been apprised of what happened in Bangladesh last year. Elections were supposed to take place within 90 days. They have not taken place, but we have been in touch with the authorities of Bangladesh, who have indicated to us that discussions are on the way, consultations are taking place with a view to the drafting of a new constitution and electoral laws as well as other organic laws, and it is after that elections will be organized, and we've been given the indication that elections will take place in December if the process of consultations is very expedient, or at the very latest in June 2026. So, Madam President, you and your colleagues recommended that Governing Council continue to monitor the situation, and you recommended that we urge the authorities of the country to be more robust in carrying out consultations with a view to the return to constitutional rule. Madam President?
Colleagues, we agree with the recommendation of the Executive Committee. It is so decided. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam President. We go on to Guinea-Bissau. Guinea-Bissau, where the parliament stands suspended or dissolved unconstitutionally by the president. In response to this, in the past, you have expressed strong support for the parliament and its speaker. The developments in recent months have led to a decision to hold elections for president and the parliament in the course of 2025, although there is disagreement between the the administration and the opposition regarding the timing of the elections. But you did take note of this situation, and Madam President, you and your colleagues decided that we would continue to monitor the situation and that we would encourage the authorities of Guinea-Bissau to hold elections as soon as possible, under very free and fair conditions so that you can have the pleasure of welcoming a fully fledged parliament in the near future.
Colleagues, we agree? It is so decided. Thank you very much.
Haiti has no functioning parliament, and its membership rights stand suspended in the IPU. We have not recorded any major progress in the past several months since you met in October, and elections have not taken place to establish a new parliament in Haiti. And during your deliberations, Madam President, you decided to recommend to Council that we maintain the decision to suspend the membership rights of Haiti until such time as elections take place and we have the pleasure of welcoming a newly elected parliament.
Colleagues, we maintain the same status of suspending Haiti. There is no hand. It is so decided. Thank you very much.
Kuwait, Madam President, the parliament in Kuwait stands dissolved by the Emir of Kuwait, with legislative powers accruing to the Emir and the government. No clear indications have been given that elections will take place in the near future, but we have been told that the transition towards holding elections can last up to 4 years. And when you discussed the matter, you decided that Governing Council should continue to monitor this situation, it being understood that you would like elections to take place as soon as possible. So we will, if you agree, Madam President, you and your colleagues in Council, then we will continue to monitor the situation in Kuwait.
Colleagues, we continue to monitor the situation in Kuwait. I don't see any hand. It is so decided. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam President. I think you will address Niger in your comments later on, and we just simply want to say that there has been no significant progress regarding the establishment of a parliament in Niger following the dissolution of the then parliament when the military junta took over power. And Madam President, maybe you want to announce here already what the executive committee agreed regarding Niger.
Colleagues, in the case of Niger, the executive committee had extensive discussions about this, and we reached the decision to suspend the affiliation of Niger due to low progress in setting up the legislative body to support the transitional effort, as it is the case in Burkina Faso, Mali, and Guinea. So the executive committee, irrespectively, keeps their doors open in case Niger establishes a parliament and expresses the wish to rejoin. So, colleagues, do we agree with the suggestion by the executive committee to suspend Niger? There is no hand. I take it that we have decided. Thank you very much, Secretary General.
Thank you, Madam President. Sudan is without any parliament since 2019, when hostilities broke out between the government and militia in Sudan. The situation is such that the conflict continues to escalate, and there are no signs that there is a political settlement in view, with a view to organizing elections for a new parliament. So Sudan stands suspended from the IPU. You decided to recommend to Council, in view of the situation, to continue to keep Sudan suspended, but also to monitor the situation, the political situation there, and come back to the Council.
Colleagues, we keep monitoring the situation. I don't see any hand. It is so decided. Thank you very much, Secretary General.
Madam President, Syria is a country that has witnessed major developments since you last met in October. Since you last met in October, the government of Mr. Bashar al-Assad was overthrown, I think, in December 2024. In the initial phases, the then parliament of Syria, the National People's Assembly, was maintained for a period of 3 months, but it has recently been dissolved in view of the establishment of a transitional National Assembly. Madam President, you and your colleagues did take note of the efforts being made by the Secretary General and his colleagues to establish contact with the new authorities of Syria in order to help that administration put in place structures that will help speed up a return to normalcy in Syria. You took note of these developments, Madam President, and you and your colleagues welcomed the objective set by the new authorities to set up a transitional parliament, and you encourage the Secretariat to continue to engage with the new authorities in the country to identify ways of engagement, including the provision of technical support to such a transitional legislative body. Madam President.
Colleagues, we agree with the proposal. Thank you very much. It is so decided, Secretary General.
Transitional parliaments, and here we have a number of them, basically in West Africa, and one in Central Africa. So you have Burkina Faso. You took note of the progress in the establishment of a new legal framework for Burkina Faso in terms of moving to constitutional rule. You took note of the assistance that the IPU has been providing to that parliament pursuant to the decisions taken by the Governing Council, and you concluded that we should urge, the IPU should encourage, urge the authorities to speed up the transitional process, and you asked us to continue to monitor the situation and provide whatever support we are able to provide to the authorities in that country. Madam President.
Colleagues, we take note. There is no hand. It is so decided. Thank you very much.
Gabon, Madam President. With Gabon, I think they have made significant progress towards return to normalcy, Madam President, and we have, when you and your colleagues discussed this matter, you took note of the support that the IPU has provided to the transitional authorities in Gabon to establish a new constitution and a new electoral framework, and the elections that are due to take place now for president in April this year. I think it's on the 12th of April, I think, in a few days, in 3 days, they will go to the polls, and then in August 2025, they will hold parliamentary elections, so that by the time you get to the October session of the National Assembly, of the IPU Assembly, you may have the pleasure of welcoming a fully fledged permanent parliament of Gabon. So you took note of this progress and saluted this progress and continue to monitor the situation, Madam President.
So we take note, colleagues. Thank you very much. It is so decided.
Guinea is in the same category as Burkina Faso. We continue to engage with the transitional parliament in Guinea, providing IPU's technical support with a view to establishing conditions for return to normalcy. That work is continuing, and you were apprised of the efforts that we are making in this area. And Madam President, you adopted the same decision or recommendation as for Burkina Faso, that is to urge the authorities, the transitional authorities of Guinea, to speed up the transitional process with a view to organizing elections for a new parliament.
Colleagues, we agree with the proposal. Thank you very much. It is so decided.
Madam
Secretary
President,
General.
Mali, I think, is the same thing as Guinea and Burkina Faso. You adopted the same démarche. You asked the Governing Council to ask the IPU to continue to support the Guinean authorities with a view to speedy return to constitutional rule, and you urged the authorities in that country to speed up that process.
Colleagues, you agree with the proposal? It is so decided. Thank you very much.
Madam President, we went on to Libya. You took note of the developments that had taken place, significant developments indeed, including the holding of municipal elections and discussions for the holding of elections in the near future for a new parliament in Libya. You took note of these developments, Madam President, and you decided to recommend to Council to continue monitoring developments in this country and identify opportunities for supporting the Parliament. I want to mention that the Secretary General and his colleagues have been engaged with the Parliament that you recognize in the IPU, based in Benghazi. We have discussed with them, and yesterday we had the pleasure of signing a technical cooperation agreement with the authorities of that Parliament here. So we will continue those engagements subject to the decisions that you take, Madam President.
Colleagues, we take note and we agree. Thank you very much. It is so decided, Secretary General.
South Sudan, I'm sorry. South Sudan is one country where you have expressed concern because of recent developments that seem to have set back the process for return to normalcy, with squabbling between different factions in the National Assembly, in the Parliament and in the government. And in recent months, or weeks, we have had the arrest of key partners of the coalition government in South Sudan, including the first vice president of the country and his wife, who is interior minister. You took note of these disquieting events, and you recommended to council, you decided to recommend to council to continue to monitor the situation, to express your deep concern over the current developments in South Sudan, and to encourage the authorities there to try to find common ground between all the parties concerned in order to put back the return to democracy process on track. So, Madam President, that was the decision, the recommendation from Executive Committee.
Colleagues, we keep monitoring. We agree with the proposal. Thank you very much. It is so decided, Secretary General.
Chad, Madam President, Chad is a case where you can announce positive news. Chad has come to the end of the transitional process. They have been, the IPU has been engaged with the transitional parliament in Chad, providing technical assistance pursuant to the decisions of the council. And today we can report that a newly elected parliament has started functioning. It's a bicameral parliament, National Assembly and Senate. It has its leadership there. And the chair or the speaker of the Senate is none other than the winner of the 2024 Kremer Pasi Prize, Dr. Kabadi. And you took note of these positive developments, Madam President, you and your colleagues in the Executive Committee, and recommended, you decided to recommend to Council to remove Chad from the list of countries that are under monitoring by the IPU, but also to ask the Secretariat to continue to support the newly elected Parliament in order to consolidate democracy in Chad.
So, colleagues, in respect of Chad, three things. One is to congratulate our colleagues who are here with us, but also congratulate the country generally for the progress they have made. Secondly, is to follow up on what the Secretary General has just said, that as the governing body, we have to make a decision to remove Chad from the countries that we are monitoring. We remove Chad. Thank you very much. At the same time, we also have to make a decision that the Secretary General and his office keeps supporting Chad in these early times of the Parliament. We agree? Thank you very much. So congratulations, Chad, for the progress you have made, and we wish you all the best as you embark on this journey of serving the people of Chad as people's representatives. Good luck. Secretary General.
Thank you, Madam President. We move on to Palestine. That is the next category, countries where the political situation or other situation impacts on the Parliament's capacity to function. We have Palestine, where parliamentary elections have not taken place, I think, since 2006, right? For a variety of reasons, but most recently as a result of the ongoing war in Gaza, which makes it unlikely that elections will take place very soon in Palestine. You took note of this situation, and you did say that the Middle East Committee, the Committee on Middle East Questions of the IPU, should be more robust in being seized of the situation in Gaza and Palestine as a whole, in order to provide information to you on pathways for our contribution to the resolution of the conflict in Gaza and Palestine. You will have the benefit of a report by the Committee on Middle East Questions later today, Madam President, and so you may wish to ask your colleagues to take note of these developments in Palestine, and then await the findings of the Middle East Committee.
Colleagues, we take note, and since we will hear the report from the President of this committee later today, we will be able to assess from there how far they have gone. We take note. Thank you very much. It is so decided. Secretary General.
Madam President, we move on to Venezuela. That has been the subject of extensive discussions within the Executive Committee in recent years. Venezuela has a functioning parliament, but that parliament is not fully recognized by the IPU, given that it is the considered view of the governing council that it was not elected in conformity with the laws of Venezuela. And at the time that Venezuela's membership was put in abeyance, it was also on account of the fact that there was another rival parliament. But things have improved, and or rather not improved, have evolved, and we have now confirmation that parliamentary elections will be taking place in May 2025. And when you discussed this matter, Madam President, you said that a full decision on the status of Venezuela would be taken later, when the outcome of the May elections will have been known, and when there has been an assessment of how those elections have taken place. So you decided to maintain the current position of the IPU regarding Venezuela, and you decided to recommend that we come back to the matter in October 2020.
Colleagues, we maintain the current status. It is so decided. Thank you very much, Secretary General.
Madam President, Yemen, which is the last country on our list, Yemen, no significant progress. Yemen, the war in Yemen continues since 2014, and elections have not taken place, but there is a parliament that you do recognize, and that parliament, I believe, is functioning on exile in Aden. I believe they are present here, they're represented in this assembly because they are considered full-fledged members of the IPU, and this matter was therefore discussed, and you expressed the view that efforts should be stepped up to support solutions to the conflict, and in which case elections could then take place normally. That is the considered view of the Executive Committee, and Madam President, you and your colleagues therefore recommended that the IPU continue to maintain the membership of Yemen in the IPU as represented by the parliament that is functioning out of Aden. Thank you, Madam President.
Colleagues, we maintain this current status. Thank you very much. It is so decided. Mr. Secretary General, thank you so much for this presentation which you have just made. We will now go to item 10, dear colleagues, regional offices. You remember a decision was made to have regional offices in Uruguay for GRULAC, but also Egypt for the Arab group and the Africa geopolitical group. Mr. Secretary General.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Burkina Faso.
Requesting the floor.
Burkina Faso, now you have to inform me you're taking the floor on which item, please, Burkina Faso?
Point 8.
Colleagues, on item 8, the way we were handling the issues is that we were going item by item, and all of them have been approved. But still, I will give you a chance to address us, although a decision has already been taken on every item that has been presented here. Burkina Faso, you have the floor. Burkina Faso, you have the floor. If the microphone is not working, please move to the next.
Madame la Présidente de l'UIP, Monsieur le Secrétaire général, permettez-moi, au nom du Président de l'Assemblée législative de transition, Dr Ousmane Bougouma, vous saluer Madame la Présidente pour le travail réalisé par l'Union interparlementaire sous votre leadership et exprimons notre reconnaissance au comité exécutif pour ses efforts constants en faveur du dialogue à travers le monde. Nous souhaitons vivement adresser nos vives félicitations au secrétaire général de l'UIP pour son engagement particulier en faveur des transitions des pays en transition et notamment pour l'attention qu'il a apportée au Burkina Faso. Toutes nos institutions étatiques fonctionnent normalement. À titre d'illustration, le Burkina Faso a pris part sans discontinuer aux différentes sessions de l'Union interparlementaire ces dernières années, ce qui témoigne de son engagement soutenu envers notre organisation commune. La visite du secrétaire général en mai 2023 a d'ailleurs permis de constater de manière directe la continuité et la régularité des travaux de notre Parlement ainsi que la stabilité de nos institutions. La véritable crise que traverse notre pays est d'ordre sécuritaire. Il s'agit d'une crise terroriste alimentée par des forces obscures, souvent liées à des intérêts extérieurs dont l'objectif est de compromettre la stabilité de notre nation et de remettre en cause sa souveraineté. Dans ce contexte difficile, le Burkina Faso réaffirme son attachement aux idéaux de solidarité, de fraternité et de coopération entre les peuples. Nous appelons à une mobilisation internationale forte et solidaire afin que collectivement nous puissions préserver la souveraineté et la paix dans le monde. Au nom du président de l'Assemblée législative de transition, son Excellence Ousmane Bougouma, nous réitérons notre disponibilité à continuer à travailler ensemble pour la consolidation de nos institutions étatiques. Je vous remercie.
Thank you very much. I think our colleague was registering his appreciation on behalf of his country on the good work that has been done by the IPU and in particular the Secretary General. So we have taken note of the positive things that are happening in Burkina Faso. Colleagues, we will now go to item 10, regional offices. And on this, I'm going to give the Secretary General a minute to abreast us of what is happening. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam President. You did take the decision to create regional offices in Uruguay and Egypt on an experimental basis, and I am just pleased to report to you that we are monitoring the situation and engage with the authorities of these two countries. In Uruguay, you remember that we have already signed a host country agreement with the government in June 2023, and we are currently in discussions with the Parliament with a view to an agreement on the logistics and budgetary responsibilities of each party. And we have taken note that elections took place recently in Uruguay, and there are new parliamentary authorities, and so we are running a little bit behind schedule in our discussions with Uruguay, and we continue to engage with them, and we hope, Madam President, that in the near future we can come to a common ground on how the office in Uruguay will operate with the respective responsibilities and roles of the parties concerned. In Egypt, we have also made progress with the preparation and conclusion of a host country agreement with the authorities of Egypt, and we have recently approached the Egyptian party with a set of proposals that would lead, if agreement were secured, to a full understanding of the respective roles and responsibilities of the parties in terms of a host country agreement. We hope that these discussions can be concluded very soon for us to move forward. So, Madam President, that's what I have to report regarding the two regional offices.
Colleagues, we take note of this information in respect of our two regional offices. Thank you very much. It is so decided. We will now go to agenda item number 11, future interparliamentary meetings. Colleagues, under this item, the Governing Council is invited to review and approve the list of future interparliamentary meetings currently scheduled for 2025 and the beginning of 2026. I would like to give the floor to the Secretary General to give an overview of the list of meetings that we foresee up to now. And so, Mr. Secretary General, you have the floor.
Madam President, I want to point out that this schedule of meetings is always a work in progress. We update it on the occasion of each assembly so that you can have as full a picture as possible of the various events that the IPU is organizing or will organize in the near future. This gives you some idea of predictability and helps you plan in your different countries to participate in these events. You have received that document that contains the list of meetings as we know them today, and we would just like you to take note of the events. There are some that have already been approved by Council. There are others that for which we are seeking Council approval. I want to point out that on this list, all the meetings, all the resources for all these meetings have been secured. So what we are doing is many of them are going to take place online, but several others will take place in person. And you will see in many instances that we do not yet have hosts or venues for these meetings, and so we cannot propose specific dates for you. We continue to carry out consultations, and since, Madam President, you and your colleagues reviewed this list at this session of the Assembly, we have had confirmation that the Serbian Parliament is offering to host the next conference of women parliamentarians in March 2026. We have also received confirmation from the Parliament of Peru that they stand ready to host the Global Conference of Young Parliamentarians in September 2025. We have also endeavored in this schedule to provide information where we have IPU meetings taking place in the context of other broader meetings. We have endeavored to give you specific details of the timing of those broader meetings so that you can plan to attend not only the IPU events, but also the other events that may be relevant to the work of Parliament. And this is in implementation of a recommendation from the Governing Council. Madam President, you will then see that we have two categories of meetings here: the assemblies, the statutory assemblies. And when you look at the statutory assemblies, we now have, the Executive Committee has now confirmed that the next assembly, the 151st assembly, will take place in Geneva from the 19th to the 23rd of October 2025. Then the Executive Committee is seeking approval for the 152nd assembly, which has now been tentatively scheduled for Geneva, 22nd to the 26th of March 2026. For the 153rd assembly, which will take place in October 2026, discussions are ongoing with a number of partners, a number of parliaments that are considering the possibility of hosting an IPU assembly in the near future. And Madam President, you and your colleagues will be apprised of the outcome of those consultations as and when they become available. So we are asking you, Madam President, you and your colleagues to approve this schedule of meetings together with the specialized meetings that you have in that table. And if you do that, then we can continue in the Secretariat to work towards the organization of the meetings for your benefit. Thank you, Madam President.
Colleagues, the presentation has been made and this document has been shared with you.
We're
But
going to give her the floor. Yes.
did anybody? Oh, okay. Germany and Denmark. That's Denmark.
Thank you very much. I just want to say thank you and
Hold on, please. Hold on. I'm trying to establish who have requested the floor. So, Denmark?
Denmark and Qatar.
And Qatar. Okay, we will begin with Denmark, then Qatar. Denmark, please, you have the floor.
Thank you. I just want to congratulate the organizers of the hearing in New York in February. From the Danish delegation, we think it's useful, and we think it's perhaps more useful this year than previous year because there was more interactive dialogue, which was very good. We didn't just have pre-prepared speeches, but there was some discussions among people on the spot. So we want to congratulate the organizers with that. We just want to hear, is the plan that have a conference also next year, 26 in New York? I cannot see it in the plan. And when do you think we can have the dates in order to prepare our calendar in the Parliament? Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, colleagues, the meeting will take place, but we are sorry we weren't able to communicate at the moment the dates because we wait until the new United Nations General Assembly President is elected, then we work out on the dates. But the meeting will take place around the same time. So thank you very much. Thank you also for the positive note that you began with, Denmark, about how we organized the meeting. We will keep trying to better it. And now Qatar, you have the floor. Qatar.
السلام عليكم، أسعد الله صباحكم بكل خير. بداية أتقدم بالشكر الجزيل للاتحاد البرلماني الدولي وبخاصة سعادة الرئيسة توليا إكسون وأيضا السيد مارتن تشونغ والسكرتارية بالأمانة على الجهود الكبيرة التي يبذلونها في تنفيذ الأنشطة المختلفة للاتحاد، وخاصة أيضا أؤكد على جلسة الاستماع والإحاطة التي عقدت في نيويورك وكانت جدا ثرية وذات موضوع مهم جدا وهو التنمية المستدامة وأهدافها 17. لدي ملاحظة حول المؤتمر أو اجتماع الجمعية العامة الذي سيعقد في جنيف في العام 2026. سيصادف هذا الاجتماع مع عيد الفطر المبارك، فنتمنى أن يؤخر قليلاً إلى تاريخ 24 من 24 إلى 28، وهذا يعد مناسباً بالنسبة لنا كمسلمين. وشكراً.
Qatar, we have noted your, the concern that you have raised, and we shall try to work on it, and we will be communicating members if we are able to come up with a better solution that is going to assist us into making this assembly more successful. So we have noted your concern, Qatar. Colleagues, you have had the report from the Secretary General and how the Executive Committee have looked at this list, and some of them are approved and some of them you have already approved and some of them we are requesting your approval, and our two colleagues have taken the floor. But before we make a decision, I would like to inform you members the future meetings, like the Secretary General just mentioned, especially the assemblies, Some countries are offering their availability, but it is important because we would like to continue with the tradition of taking the IPU closer to the people, just as you have seen here in Uzbekistan, and how people are happy to receive all of you here. So the countries that will be ready in future to host these meetings, they are more than welcome to prepare themselves and of course get in touch with the Secretariat for them to be able to start considering and then figuring out when exactly this assembly can come to your country or to your region. So that said, colleagues, do I take it that we accept the recommendation about the future? Sorry, there's another one?
Yes.
Okay. The Secretary General has something else to add.
No, thank you, Madam President. I just want to, so that it's part of the records of this meeting, you know that the Global Conference of Young Parliamentarians takes place annually, and ideally it should be in this list of meetings. If it's not there, it's an omission. We take for granted that it has been approved by the Governing Council. For those meetings that are statutory, they're in there? It's in there? Okay, fine. But we now have an offer for a country to host, and it is none other. It's none other. I don't know if it's in the document, to none other than the country that is currently hosting us. Uzbekistan has offered to host the next one in Samarkand, no longer in Tashkent. So 2026, they have offered their city of Samarkand to host the Global Conference of Young Parliamentarians. Madam President, I thought you want this to be part of the record.
Thank you so much, Secretary General, for sharing that. So, colleagues, as we make a decision, we take note of the venue also for the meeting of the the Forum of Young Parliamentarians. Do we approve the recommendations that have been brought to us? Thank you so much. It is so decided, colleagues. Now we go to item 12, 6th World Conference of Speakers of Parliament. Colleagues, under this item, I'll give the floor to the Secretary General to provide an update on the arrangements for the 6th World Conference of Speakers taking place in July this year. Mr. Secretary General.
Thank you very much, Madam President. Very quickly, yes, the 6th World Conference of Speakers of Parliaments will take place in Geneva from the 29th to the 31st of July 2025. It will be preceded by the 15th Summit of Women Speakers of Parliament on the 28th of July, also in Geneva. Since you last met in October, the preparatory committee, which, as you remember, is composed of speakers of parliament from around the world, nominated by the various geopolitical groups, has met twice, once in Geneva after the assembly in October, and once in New York prior to the annual parliamentary hearing at the United Nations in February 2025. The committee, that preparatory committee, discussed and agreed on the structural program, main themes and expected outcomes of the conference, and approved its rules. In view of the fact that the conference is being organized in close collaboration with the United Nations, the committee also received extensive briefings on both occasions from the UN Secretary General's Chef de Cabinet, and had fruitful discussions on topics as the newly adopted Pact for the Future and potential UN reform. In New York, the committee agreed that the theme of the conference should be a world in turmoil, parliamentary cooperation and multilateralism for peace, justice and prosperity for all. The committee also approved a first draft of the high-level declaration for the conference. This draft was distributed to all IPU member parliaments on 6th March 2025 with an invitation to propose any amendments and feedback by 4th May at the latest. So we encourage you to peruse that draft declaration and contact the IPU Secretariat if you feel any enhancements are needed. Madam President, I would also like to remind you and your colleagues that our World Conferences of Speakers of Parliament take place only every 5 years. And so, to that end, a rare opportunity for us to assemble the presiding officers of all national parliaments with the aim of bringing a parliamentary dimension to efforts to support and strengthen the multilateral system with the United Nations at its core. I would therefore like to invite all of you in this room who are Speakers of Parliament, and I'm glad many Speakers of Parliament have already confirmed their participation in this important meeting. Those who have not been able to do so, I am sure you will be doing so in the coming days so that we can plan to welcome you in Geneva appropriately. So discussions, or rather registrations, will be open in a few days, in the coming weeks, and we hope that as many members of, or Speakers of Parliament as possible will be attending that very important gathering. Thank you, Madam President.
Colleagues, do we have, I don't see any hand. Okay, so if there are no questions, do we take note of the report about these preparations? Thank you very much.
If we finish the council this morning,
those of you whose speakers are not here, please go remind them this conference only comes once in 5 years, so it's very important that all the speakers of the world attend. But also we look forward to seeing them there, because we are going to have a high-level declaration on a number of issues that have been shared with your parliaments already, and we look forward to seeing your speakers there. So now we go to item number 13, colleagues, elections to the Executive Committee. Under agenda item 13, the Governing Council is invited to elect 2 new members to the Executive Committee to replace Mr. Fadli Zon of Indonesia, who is no longer a parliamentarian, and Dr. Ali Al-Nuaimi of the United Arab Emirates, whose mandate ends at this assembly. Now, for the announced vacancies, we have received from the Asia Pacific Group the candidature of Mr. Ali Serra, member of the House of Representatives of Indonesia, with an accompanying letter and a CV, which were shared with the full membership. Mr. Serra will continue Mr. Zon's mandate until it expires in October 2027. Colleagues, this has been our practice. Also, for the replacement of Dr. Ali Al-Nuaimi, who according to the rules should be a woman, we have received from the Arab group the candidature of Ms. Hamda bint Hassan Al-Sulaiti from Qatar for a full mandate running from April 2025 to April 2029. Colleagues, I don't see any hand objecting to the candidature of Ms. Al-Sulaiti, so I take it that the Governing Council has elected Ms. Sulaiti to join the executive members. Thank you so much. It is so decided. Let me take this opportunity to congratulate the 2 members who are going to join us in the ExCom, and we look forward to your contribution, but of course to your great representation from the groupings that you're going to represent, the Arab group for Al-Sulaiti and the Asia Pacific for Mr. Serra. I would also like colleagues to take this opportunity to pay a warm tribute to Dr. Ali Al-Nuaimi, who has provided a commendable service and substantial contribution to the IPU as a member of the ExCom, but also as the president of the Task Force on the Peaceful Resolution of the War in Ukraine. He has also been a member of the Gender Partnership Group, on which he served as the chair, and also the subcommittee on finance. and the Working Group on Transparency, Accountability, and Openness. And as you can see, all these positions that were held by Dr. Ali, he has rendered his services wholeheartedly. So a big applause to Dr. Ali. We really appreciate all your efforts, but we also thank your country for the fact that they offered you to us to be able to continue working with us in these areas. And we hope this will not be the end. You will keep working with us closely. Thank you so much, Dr. Ali. Colleagues, I would also like to take this opportunity to thank Mr. Zon, who has also made a very meaningful contribution during his term when he served part as a member of the EXCOM, and he also served in other various bodies of the IPU, including being a member of the steering committee of the Parliamentary Conference on the WTO. He has also made a contribution to the Standing Committee on the Peace and International Security and the Standing Committee on International Development. We really value the services of Mr. Zon to IPU, and another applause to him as well. Dear colleagues, the Executive Committee elected from among its members the 6 vice presidents of the Executive Committee, representing each geopolitical group. And these are the follows. Ms. Nelly Muti, the Speaker of Zambia, to be the Vice President representing the Africa Group. Thank you very much. Ms. Sarangi from India for the Asia Pacific Group. Thank you very much. Ms. Mikhailova from Azerbaijan for the Eurasia Group. Thank you very much. Ms. Alva Prieto, Peru, representing GRULAC. Thank you very much. And Ms. Gabriela Murawska-Staneka from Poland for the 12+ group. Now, colleagues, we also have Ms. Al-Sulaiti, who also becomes automatically the Vice President representing the Arab group. Now, colleagues, among these 6 Vice Presidents that the Executive Committee elected, we also elected Ms. Gabriela Murawska-Staneka from Poland as the Vice President of the Inter-Parliamentary Union. I don't know if she's in the house, is she? Okay, irrespectively, I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate her for this position which she has assumed. And so, colleagues, because we have, I remember we have changed our rules and statutes in respect of this, so this will not be the Vice President of the Executive Committee, but Vice President of the IPU. So you might be seeing her several places representing me. So Poland is now holding that position as the Vice President of the Inter-Parliamentary Union. Colleagues, with all the claps that I have had, I take it that the Governing Council wishes to approve all these elections done by the EXCOM. Thank you very much. It is so decided. Congratulations to all of you, dear colleagues. Now we will go to item number 14, activities of the committees and other bodies. And under this committee, colleagues, you will hear, as the Governing Council, you will hear brief reports on the activities of the IPU bodies, and you will be invited to appoint new members to several of them as we listen to their reports. That has been our practice. So I am going to first begin with B instead of A as per the item of our agenda, because we want to first listen to our host, the President of the Assembly. She's going to present about the Forum of Women Parliamentarians. Speaker Tanzila Nabaeva, the President of the IPU Assembly, will now address the Governing Council. As she's still working, please give her applause for the wonderful dinner that we had yesterday and all the dance. Thank you very much. So, Madam
Assalamu
Speaker, you
alaikum.
have the floor.
Assalomu alaykum, muhtarama Prezident xonim oliyalari, janob bosh kotib, hurmatli hamkasblar. Men parlament ayol a'zolari forumining 39-sessiyasida raislik qilish sharafiga muyassar bo'ldim. 5-aprel kuni bo'lib o'tgan forumda 66 mamlakatdan jami 400 nafardan ziyod xotin-qizlar, shu jumladan 131 nafar parlament a'zosi ishtirok etdi. Ularning 104 nafari ayol va 27 nafarini erkaklar tashkil etdi. Sessiyamiz parlament ayol a'zolari forumining 40 yilligini nishonlash bilan boshlandi. Forumda parlamentlar aro ittifoq prezidenti Dr. Tulia Eksan, bosh kotib janob Martin Chunkong va parlament ayol a'zolari byurosi prezidenti Cynthia Lopez Castro xonim o'z kirish so'zlari bilan ishtirok etishdi. So'zga chiqqanlar o'z chiqishlarida parlamentlar aro ittifoqni gender tenglik bo'yicha chempionga aylantirgan forumning tarixi va ulkan yutuqlari bilan o'rtoqlashdilar. Ularning bu borada bildirgan fikr mulohazalari uchun samimiy minnatdorchiligimizni bildiramiz. Assambleya doirasida doimiy qo'mitalar muhokama qilgan 2 rezolyutsiya loyihalari forumda gender nuqtai nazardan ko'rib chiqildi. Forum ishtirokchilari turli mojarolar va to'qnashuvlarning xotin-qizlarga ta'siri yuzasidan xavotir bildirdilar. Forum ishtirokchilari parlamentlarni turli mojarolar va to'qnashuvlarda qolib ketgan ayollarning ehtiyojlarini qondirishga, zarur gumanitar yordam ko'rsatishga hamda xotin-qizlarning huquq va imkoniyatlarini kengaytirishga chaqirdilar. Shuningdek, forumda mahbuslar va garovga olingan xotin-qizlarga nisbatan hurmat ko'rsatish hamda ularni ozod qilish zarurligi qayd etildi. Shubhasiz, ayollar tinchlik, xavfsizlik kun tartibiga muvofiq ijtimoiy adolatga va hamjihatlikda hayot kechirishga asoslangan jamiyat qurishda va albatta nizolarni hal qilishda ayollar hal qiluvchi rol o'ynashi parlamentlar tomonidan e'tirof etilishi zarur. Zero, tinchlikni ta'minlash, nizolarni hal qilish va ularning oldini olish jarayonlari ayollarning to'laqonli ishtirok etishi har qachongidan ham dolzarb bo'lib qolmoqda. Shuni mamnuniyat bilan aytishimiz mumkinki, milliy delegatsiyalar tomonidan rezolyutsiya loyihalari yuzasidan bildirilgan takliflarning aksariyat ko'pchiligi tinchlik va xalqaro xavfsizlik hamda barqaror rivojlanish bo'yicha doimiy qo'mitalar tomonidan qabul qilindi. Forum o'z ishini O'zbekiston Respublikasi iqtisodiyot va moliya vaziri o'rinbosari Gulnora Rahimova hamda bandlikni ta'minlash va kambag'allikni qisqartirish vaziri o'rinbosari Ra'no Turdiboyevaning chiqishlari bilan davom ettirdi. Ular o'z chiqishlarida siyosiy yetakchiligi imkoniyatini kengaytirishda parlament ayol a'zolarining global va mintaqaviy tarmoqlari rolini kuchaytirish bo'yicha o'zaro tajriba almashildi. Biz bu borada hamkorlikni yanada mustahkamlashga, tarmoqlar o'rtasidagi sheriklikni institutsionallashtirishga hamda mintaqalar aro hamkorlikni yanada kuchaytirishga kelishib oldik. Rahbar ayollar tarmoqlarining birgalikdagi sa'y-harakatlari ham gender tenglikni ilgari surish va targ'ib qilishda muhim rol o'ynaydi. Ushbu jarayonda nafaqat ayollar, balki erkaklar ham faol ishtirok etishlari maqsadga muvofiqdir. Hurmatli hamkasblar, ushbu assambleya davomida saylangan byuro yangi a'zolarini barcha ishtirokchilar nomidan tabriklaymiz. Byuro prezidenti etib Meksikadan Cynthia Lopez Castro xonim, byuroning birinchi vitse-prezidenti etib Armeniyadan Sovinar Vardanyan xonim hamda ikkinchi vitse-prezident etib Turkiya davlatidan Fatima Unju xonim saylandi. Byuroning yangi rahbarlarini hammamizning nomimizdan tabriklaymiz. Kuni kecha biz gender tenglikka erishamiz harakatlar ketidan harakatlar shiori ostida 10 ta harakatdan iborat yangi kampaniyani e'lon qildik. Ayniqsa bu yo'nalishda tadbirlar o'tkazish, tajriba almashish, qonunlarni takomillashtirish yuzasidan turli muloqotlarga ochiqmiz. Ushbu masalalar yuzasidan aloqalarni kengaytirishga biz hammamiz tayyormiz. Aziz do'stlar, o'z chiqishimni yakunlashdan oldin barchangizni parlamentlararo ittifoqning yangi e'lon qilingan gender tenglik targ'ibot kampaniyasiga qo'shilishga, o'z mamlakatingizda ushbu kampaniyaga yetakchilik qilishga va boshqalarni ham unga qo'shilishga chaqirib qolamiz. Hurmatli assambleya ishtirokchilari, barchangizni O'zbekistonda kutib olish men va mening mamlakatim uchun katta baxt bo'ldi. Ayrim delegatsiya a'zolari mamlakatimizning tarixiy shaharlari Samarqand, Buxoro, Xivada bo'ldi va bu tashriflar davom etmoqda. Biz ushbu qisqa vaqt mobaynida mamlakatimizning tarixiy madaniyati, xalqimizning turmush darajasi va milliy urf-odatlarimiz bilan tanishtirishga sizlarni harakat qildik. Sizlarni O'zbekistonga bundan keyin nafaqat ish yuzasidan, balki oilaviy kelishga ham taklif qilamiz. Assambleya barcha ishtirokchilariga o'z mamlakatlariga omon-eson yetib borishlarini tilaymiz. Sizlar O'zbekistondan yaxshi taassurotlar bilan yana mamlakatimizga tashrif buyurishni maqsad qilib ketasiz degan umiddamiz. E'tiboringiz uchun rahmat.
Madam President, you sit here just in case there are any interventions. No.
She'll stand there.
Oh, she stands? Okay. Colleagues, do we have anybody requesting for the time to speak? No? There is no hand. So, thank you so much, our 39th session president of the Forum of Women Parliamentarians. We are very grateful, Madam Speaker Tanzila. Colleagues, do I take it that you approve this report? Yes, it is so approved. Thank you very much. So now we go to... So now we go back to A, Committee on the Human Rights of Parliamentarians. Colleagues, under this agenda item, we will hear the report of the Committee on the Human Rights of Parliamentarians, which met during this assembly. I would like now to give the floor to the President of the Committee on the Human Rights of Parliamentarians, Mr. Blunt, to introduce the committee's report and the relevant recommendations for consideration by the Governing Council. Thank you so much, Mr. Blanc.
Madame la Présidente, Monsieur le Secrétaire général et très chers collègues parlementaires, j'ai l'honneur de vous présenter le rapport du Comité des droits de l'homme des parlementaires. Au cours de sa session, le Comité a tenu 8 auditions, au cours desquelles il a échangé avec des délégations nationales ainsi qu'avec des plaignants. Je tiens à exprimer toute ma gratitude à toutes les personnes qui ont répondu à l'invitation du Comité et qui ont contribué par leur participation à nourrir un dialogue constructif. Je voudrais aussi exprimer ma gratitude aux collaborateurs du comité qui nous permettent de présenter des dossiers parfaitement documentés après un travail qui se déroule parfois sur plusieurs années. À l'occasion de notre session, le comité a examiné la situation de 288 parlementaires, dont 31% sont des femmes, dans 17 pays. Nous avons également déclaré recevables 48 nouvelles situations qui nous ont été soumises, dont 9 au Myanmar et 39 en Turquie. Le comité a également décidé de clore 2 cas qui concernent le Sénégal et 3 qui concernent le Myanmar. Les projets de décision que je vous présenterai aujourd'hui pour approbation par le Conseil directeur concernent 266 parlementaires dans 12 pays. Je vais maintenant vous présenter les cas par ordre alphabétique, en commençant par le Brésil. Au Brésil, le sénateur Marcos Doval fait l'objet de sanctions de plus en plus lourdes pour avoir critiqué les actions d'un membre de la Cour suprême fédérale. Ces sanctions comprennent la confiscation des passeports du sénateur Doval, le gel de son salaire, des amendes pécuniaires élevées et le blocage de ses comptes dans les réseaux sociaux. Ce sont évidemment des mesures qui entravent l'exercice par le sénateur de son mandat, selon le plaignant, lequel déplore la nature abusive et illégale de ces sanctions. Le comité est profondément reconnaissant envers la délégation brésilienne, avec qui il s'est entretenu lors d'une audition pendant notre Assemblée, et il espère pouvoir bénéficier de la coopération des autorités parlementaires brésiliennes pour se rendre sur place afin de contribuer à un règlement des cas de tous les parlementaires du Brésil, quelle que soit leur place sur l'échiquier politique. Je vous invite donc à adopter le projet de décision qui figure à la première page des versions françaises et anglaises des documents qui vous ont été remis.
Colleagues, as per our practice, a member may be allowed to take the floor if they want to, but also if there are any reservations, we usually take note. But I don't see any hand. Do I take it? Is there?
Myanmar.
No, there is no hand.
Myanmar.
So I take it that we agree with the, sorry? I can't see the placard, so I can't read the name of the country.
No.
Please say you will talk later. It's for Brazil.
Who requested for the floor, please?
Nobody, no.
Okay, so I take it that in the case, sorry? Bien.
Non, mais ici, ils doivent être confus.
Okay. Colleagues, I am informed there is none. So that being the case, much as it's a custom at our assembly, when a case such as this is presented, we open the floor for 1 or 2 interventions, and then if there are reservations, we record them. But in this case, there is none. So we go with the recommendation that has been presented by our president of the committee. It is so decided. Thank you very much. Mr. Blanc.
Merci Madame la Présidente. Le cas du Chili. Notre comité a examiné le cas de M. Jaime Guzmán Errázuriz, sénateur chilien, qui fut assassiné dans son pays au mois d'avril 1991. Le comité veut exprimer sa gratitude au sénateur Coloma du Chili pour les informations qui nous ont été fournies lors de l'audition qui s'est tenue dans le cadre de notre Assemblée. Nous avons noté avec satisfaction que des progrès significatifs ont été réalisés pour mettre fin à l'impunité de ce crime politique, notamment grâce à l'action entreprise par les autorités brésiliennes et mexicaines pour soutenir les autorités chiliennes. Néanmoins, le comité reste préoccupé par le fait qu'un individu soupçonné d'être l'un des commanditaires du meurtre de M. Guzman réside actuellement en Argentine, bien que la Cour suprême argentine ait autorisé son extradition vers le Chili depuis plusieurs années. Le comité regrette que les autorités parlementaires argentines n'aient pas répondu à ces demandes répétées d'information. Nous exhortons le Parlement argentin à renouer le dialogue avec le comité et à prendre les mesures nécessaires pour explorer ensemble les meilleurs moyens de contribuer à mettre fin à l'impunité dans ce cas emblématique. Je vous invite à adopter le projet de décision qui figure à la page 4 des documents qui vous ont été remis.
Colleagues, I don't see anybody requesting the floor, so we approve the recommendation by the President of the Committee. Thank you very much. It is so decided.
Merci Madame la Présidente. C'est le cas maintenant d'Israël. Le comité a examiné la situation de M. Ofer Kassif, qui est membre de la Knesset. Il a fait l'objet d'une procédure arbitraire d'expulsion pour avoir publiquement appuyé l'Afrique du Sud dans sa requête contre l'État d'Israël devant la Cour internationale de justice. La motion d'expulsion qui visait M. Kassif n'a pas été approuvée en séance plénière, de sorte qu'il a pu conserver son siège à la Knesset. Mais la commission d'éthique de la Knesset a décidé peu après, au mois de novembre 2024, de restreindre considérablement la participation de M. Kassif au débat de la Knesset pendant 6 mois pour avoir exprimé une position politique contre les politiques et les actions de l'État d'Israël à Gaza. Le comité a considéré que la décision prise par la commission d'éthique de la Knesset contre M. Kassif était arbitraire parce qu'elle avait sanctionné ce dernier pour avoir exercé légitimement sa liberté d'expression. Le comité demande aux autorités israéliennes de rétablir pleinement les droits parlementaires de M. Kassif et de lui accorder les mesures nécessaires de sécurité. Je vous invite à adopter le projet de décision qui figure aux pages 12 et 6 des documents qui vous ont été remis.
Colleagues, I don't see any hands, so we approve the recommendation by the committee. It is so decided. Thank you very much.
Merci Madame la Présidente. Pour le Kirghizstan, il y a 1 an, le Conseil avait exprimé son inquiétude au sujet de la détention arbitraire de M. Adakan Madumarov, un parlementaire d'opposition qui avait été arrêté pour des faits qui remontaient à 2009. Dans sa décision, le Conseil avait exprimé sa préoccupation face aux graves allégations de violation du droit à un procès équitable et il avait appelé les autorités à le libérer sans tarder et à tout faire pour protéger ses droits et son mandat. S'il a bien été libéré le 26 avril 2024, le même jour, il a été privé de son mandat suite à un verdict de culpabilité sans condamnation à une peine d'emprisonnement en raison de l'expiration du délai de prescription. Le comité déplore vivement que M. Madumarov ait perdu son mandat alors qu'il n'aurait jamais dû faire l'objet de poursuites et encore moins de sanctions. Il est crucial que l'État kirghize opère les réformes nécessaires pour veiller à ce que de tels cas ne se reproduisent plus afin de garantir l'indépendance du Parlement. Je vous invite à adopter le projet de décision qui figure en pages 15 et 9 des rapports qui vous ont été remis.
Colleagues, I don't see any hands, so I take it that we approve the committee's recommendations. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. Le cas de la Libye. Le comité vous soumet une nouvelle décision qui concerne le cas de Madame Seham Sergiwa. Elle est parlementaire libyenne et elle a été brutalement enlevée à son domicile il y a 6 ans. Le comité déplore que l'enquête sur l'enlèvement de Mme Sergiwa n'ait toujours pas progressé en raison des défis considérables qui sont posés à l'ordre public dans le pays. Le comité prie instamment les autorités libyennes, et en particulier le procureur général, de tout mettre en œuvre pour faire la lumière sur son sort et pour garantir l'identité des responsables. Quant à notre comité, il continuera de faire tout son possible pour établir la vérité dans le cas de Mme Sergiwa, en coopérant avec les mécanismes des Nations Unies et d'autres tierces parties qui sont susceptibles de faire avancer le cas. Je vous invite à adopter le projet de décision qui figure en pages 18 et 13 des documents qui vous ont été remis.
Colleagues, we approve. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. Le Myanmar. Le comité a examiné une fois encore un cas au Myanmar qui concerne 82 parlementaires qui ont été victimes de représailles en raison de leurs activités parlementaires à la suite du coup d'État de 2021. 10 d'entre eux ont trouvé la mort alors qu'ils essayaient d'échapper à leur arrestation et 18 sont aujourd'hui détenus au secret dans des conditions préoccupantes au vu des allégations de torture qui ont été formulées par des témoins de ces crimes ainsi que de rapports du rapporteur spécial des Nations Unies sur la situation des droits de l'homme au Myanmar. Nous nous joignons de nouveau à son appel à la solidarité avec le peuple du Myanmar qui endure d'atroces souffrances dans le cadre d'une guerre civile qui fait rage depuis 4 ans, sans compter les séquelles du tremblement de terre du 26 mars. Chers collègues, nous n'avons pas fait assez pour résoudre cette crise. Nous pouvons et nous devons faire davantage pour faire en sorte que nos confrères et nos consoeurs soient libérés, comme l'exige la résolution 2669 du Conseil de sécurité de l'Organisation des Nations Unies. Madame la Présidente, avant de procéder au vote, j'aimerais vous demander d'accorder la parole à un parlementaire du Myanmar pour qu'il fasse un bref témoignage sur ce cas, si vous voulez bien l'accepter.
Okay, now, Myanmar, I'm informed by the President that you're in the room and you would like to take the floor, so I'm going to yield to his requests. Myanmar, you would like to take the floor?
Yeah, thank you.
2 minutes, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Mr. Secretary General and colleagues. I appreciate and thank you for the decision and strong recommendation from Committee on Human Rights for Parliamentarians. And urging the international community to do more to put an end to the crimes committed by the military and to ensure the current conflict comes to an end as soon as possible. And please support and speak out to release all the prisoners, political prisoners, parliamentarians, including Aung San Suu Kyi and President U Win Myint, without delay. Thank you very much for all your unwavering support, unity, and standing together with our people in Myanmar. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that intervention. So, colleagues, the President, before requesting that I give the floor to Myanmar, he had laid down a number of recommendations. So, do we approve those? Thank you very much. It is so decided. Monsieur le Président.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. Je passe maintenant au cas de l'Ouganda. Concernant l'Ouganda, le comité a examiné les 3 cas dont il est saisi et il a décidé de proposer de nouvelles décisions au Conseil directeur pour 2 de ces cas. La première décision concerne le cas de messieurs Muhammad Seguirinia et de Alan Aloysius Sewanyana. Ce sont deux parlementaires de l'opposition. Initialement, ils ont été emprisonnés puis remis en liberté sous caution. Selon le plaignant, ils auraient fait l'objet de poursuites judiciaires à caractère politique et ils furent soumis à des actes de torture pendant leur détention. Le comité prend note avec beaucoup de satisfaction de la déclaration de la délégation ougandaise selon laquelle, malgré les procédures en cours, M. Sewanyana est actuellement en mesure d'exercer pleinement ses fonctions parlementaires. Il voudrait aussi saluer les efforts qui ont été déployés par le Parlement ougandais pour rendre visite aux parlementaires en détention et pour enquêter sur les allégations de torture. Toutefois, nous voulons déplorer profondément le décès de notre collègue Muhammad Seguirinia au mois de janvier de cette année. Le comité est vivement préoccupé par les allégations selon lesquelles sa mort pourrait être liée au mauvais traitement qu'il aurait subi. Nous invitons le Parlement ougandais à nous transmettre les rapports qui émanent de ses propres travaux et ceux produits par d'autres institutions étatiques pour mieux cerner les efforts engagés au niveau national pour faire la lumière sur ces accusations. Le comité voudrait remercier la délégation ougandaise pour l'esprit de dialogue dont elle a fait preuve et pour sa disponibilité à échanger avec nous à l'occasion de la présente Assemblée. Nous nous réjouissons des assurances réitérées concernant l'accueil d'une mission de notre comité en Ouganda dans les meilleurs délais. Cette visite constituera une étape importante pour approfondir notre coopération dans la recherche de solutions aux cas en cours, y compris celui relatif à l'impunité entourant des actes de torture subis par 4 anciens parlementaires et un député encore en fonction lors de leur détention en 2018. Je vous invite à adopter le projet de décision qui figure en pages 45 et 22 des versions anglaises et françaises des rapports qui vous ont été remis.
Colleagues, do we approve the recommendations by the committee? Thank you very much. It is so decided.
Merci Madame la Présidente. La deuxième décision concerne la situation de notre collègue Betty Nambouze, qui a été violemment agressée et maltraitée par des agents des forces de sécurité de l'État alors qu'elle participait à une séance parlementaire au mois de septembre 2017. Ensuite, elle a été arrêtée et soumise à des traitements inhumains au cours de sa détention. À ce jour, notre collègue souffre toujours des séquelles de ces violences. Selon les informations dont dispose le comité, les responsables de ces actes n'ont pas été traduits en justice. Nous appelons les autorités ougandaises à prendre toutes les mesures nécessaires pour que soit garantie la justice et que celle-ci soit rendue à bref délai. Je vous invite à adopter le projet de décision qui figure dans les pages 48 et 25 des rapports qui vous ont été remis.
Colleagues, we approve the recommendation. Thank you very much. It is so decided.
Merci Madame la Présidente. Le cas maintenant de la République démocratique du Congo. Le comité a examiné 2 cas qui concernent la République démocratique du Congo, des cas relatifs à la situation de M. Jean-Marc Kabound et de M. Chérubin Okende. Le comité a pris note de la libération de M. Kabound au mois de février 2025, après 3 années de détention pour avoir critiqué le chef de l'État. Bien qu'il salue son acquittement, le comité rappelle que M. Kabound a été condamné à une lourde peine de 7 ans d'emprisonnement pour avoir simplement exercé son droit à la liberté d'expression. Le comité souhaite recevoir des informations sur la procédure en révision qui a abouti à ce résultat et il appelle de nouveau les autorités à renforcer la protection de ce droit fondamental. Je vous invite à adopter cette délibération qui figure en pages 6 et 28 du rapport qui vous a été remis.
Colleagues, we approve
tête dans sa voiture. Le comité déplore profondément l'absence de mesures concrètes visant à établir la vérité sur ce cas, notamment l'absence de transparence des autorités qui, à ce jour, n'ont pas transmis le rapport d'enquête judiciaire et les conclusions des équipes internationales. Au regard de l'absence d'information de la part des autorités congolaises, le comité souhaite approcher les autorités de la Belgique, de l'Afrique du Sud et de la MONUSCO afin d'obtenir une copie de leurs conclusions qui concernent le décès de M. Okende. Je vous invite à adopter le projet de décision qui figure en pages 9 et 31 des rapports qui vous ont été remis.
Colleagues, we approve the recommendation. Thank you very much. It is so decided, Monsieur le
Merci,
Président.
Madame la Présidente. Je voudrais aborder maintenant le cas du Sénégal. S'agissant du Sénégal, le comité a examiné deux cas, celui de M. Khalifa Sall depuis 2017 et celui de M. Ousmane Sonko depuis 2021. Dans les deux affaires, les préoccupations portaient sur des allégations de violation du droit à un procès équitable dans le cadre de procédures judiciaires à caractère politique. Dans les deux cas, les parlementaires concernés avaient perdu leur mandat, ils avaient été emprisonnés et ils avaient vu leurs droits politiques restreints. Aujourd'hui, la situation au Sénégal a profondément évolué et le comité se réjouit de constater que les deux anciens députés sont désormais libres, qu'ils ne font l'objet d'aucune procédure pénale et qu'ils jouissent pleinement de leurs droits politiques. M. Khalifa Sall a pu se présenter comme candidat à part entière et mener une campagne lors de la dernière élection présidentielle, tandis que M. Ousmane Sonko occupe désormais la fonction de Premier ministre de son pays. Le comité accueille avec une grande satisfaction le règlement positif de ces deux cas. Il voudrait remercier les autorités parlementaires pour leur coopération constante et aussi les féliciter pour le rôle déterminant qu'elles ont joué dans la recherche de ces solutions. Je vous invite à adopter le projet de décision qui figure en pages 26 et 34 des documents qui vous ont été remis pour le cas de M. Sall, ainsi qu'en page 28 et en page 36 pour le cas de M. Sonko.
Colleagues, I don't know whether, is that Senegal? Okay, before we take a decision, Senegal has requested for the floor. Please, you have the floor. Monsieur le Président, you can, sorry, Senegal. You can have a seat if you want. You can have a seat if you want.
Ah, pardon.
If you want, you can have a seat. Senegal, you have the floor.
Yes, merci beaucoup, Madame la Présidente. Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président du Comité des droits de l'homme des parlementaires. Alors, moi, personnellement, en tant que président délégué à l'Union interparlementaire du Sénégal, j'avais écrit un discours que j'avais prévu de prononcer à mon nom, mais finalement, je viens de recevoir un message du président Ousmane Sonko qu'il vient de m'envoyer directement pour que je vous le lis. Alors, il dit: Mesdames et Messieurs les membres de l'Union interparlementaire, distingués parlementaires du monde entier, c'est avec une profonde émotion et une immense gratitude que je prends la parole aujourd'hui pour vous adresser mes remerciements les plus sincères. Je voudrais, à mon nom personnel, moi Ousmane Sonko, mais aussi au nom de ma famille, de mes avocats, de mes collaborateurs et de tous ceux qui ont cru en la justice, remercier chaleureusement le Comité des droits de l'homme des parlementaires pour son engagement constant dans le suivi de mon dossier. Dans les moments les plus difficiles de ma détention et face aux poursuites dont j'ai été objet, votre soutien a été pour moi une lumière, une force, une preuve que la majorité parlementaire transcende les frontières. transcende les frontières et les contextes politiques. Vous avez œuvré, défendons ensemble au sein de cette grande famille parlementaire internationale. Je tiens à saluer l'ensemble des membres de l'UIP et en particulier le Comité des droits de l'homme des parlements pour votre solidarité, votre engagement indéfectible en faveur des droits de l'homme et en faveur des libertés fondamentales. Recevez une fois encore mes remerciements les plus respectueux et les plus fraternels, Ousmane Sonko, Premier ministre du Sénégal.
From the Prime Minister of Senegal. Mr. Chair, Mr. President, you can go back. Now, colleagues, the intervention wasn't a reservation, but it was to give us more positive notes about the good work that the committee is doing and how they followed up on these cases. And now, one of those two people who were suffering in Senegal is the Prime Minister. So that was the intervention. So we approve, colleagues? Thank you very much. So the two cases are now out of the committee because changes have happened and positive changes. Thank you very much.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. Je voudrais dire d'abord, avant de reprendre mon propos, que nous sommes très sensibles aux remerciements que vient de nous adresser le Sénégal, parce que cela donne beaucoup de crédit aux travaux que mène le Comité des droits de l'homme, et cela démontre qu'avec persévérance, sur un travail de plusieurs années, nous pouvons obtenir des résultats très sensibles, et notamment des libérations de nos collègues parlementaires qui sont emprisonnés et qui sont maltraités. Je voudrais maintenant aborder le cas de la Somalie. En Somalie, M. Abdoulaye Abid vient d'être privé de son mandat par le président du Parlement. Selon le plaignant, cette décision unilatérale est abusive, car l'exclusion de membres du Parlement ne relève pas de la compétence du président, mais de l'ensemble des membres du Parlement. Le comité remercie la délégation somalienne d'avoir fait part de son point de vue lors d'une audition. Cela étant, le comité déplore que le mandat de M. Habib ait été révoqué au motif qu'il avait manqué plusieurs séances parlementaires, alors même que les autorités savent qu'il fait l'objet de menaces qui justifient de ses absences. Il est indispensable que la Somalie procède aux réformes nécessaires pour veiller à ce que de tels cas ne se reproduisent pas, afin de garantir l'indépendance du Parlement et l'avenir démocratique du pays. Je vous invite à adopter le projet de décision qui figure en pages 30 et 38 des rapports qui vous ont été remis.
Colleagues, we approve. Thank you very much.
Merci Madame la Présidente. Le cas de la Tunisie, le comité a également examiné le cas de Madame Abir Moussi, ainsi qu'un dossier collectif qui concerne plusieurs autres anciens membres du Parlement tunisien. Le comité regrette profondément l'absence d'informations concrètes des autorités tunisiennes au sujet des anciens députés tunisiens au motif de la séparation des pouvoirs. S'agissant de Madame Abir Moussi, le comité a pris note de la condamnation de ces agresseurs, tout en estimant que leurs peines sont bien en deçà des peines prévues par le Code pénal tunisien pour des affaires de même nature. De même, le comité est préoccupé par la détention de Madame Moussi, condamnée pour avoir exercé son droit à la liberté d'expression à une peine de 16 mois d'emprisonnement à laquelle d'autres peines plus lourdes risquent de s'ajouter. Je vous invite à adopter le projet de décision des pages 33 et 41 du rapport.
Colleagues, do we adopt? Thank you very much. It is so decided.
Concernant le dossier collectif, le comité déplore le maintien en détention de 12 anciens députés tunisiens dans le cadre d'affaires et d'accusations vagues et obscures. Le comité regrette que les cas de plusieurs anciens députés tunisiens continuent d'être examinés par des tribunaux militaires. Le comité appelle donc les autorités tunisiennes à libérer d'urgence Madame Moussi ainsi que tout autre ancien député qui serait détenu pour avoir simplement exercé son droit à la liberté d'expression en s'opposant aux mesures exceptionnelles adoptées par le président de la République. Le comité souhaite également mandater un observateur judiciaire et réitère son souhait de se rendre en Tunisie pour promouvoir le règlement définitif des présents cas. Je vous invite à adopter le projet de décision qui figure en pages 36 et 44 des rapports qui vous ont été remis. Qui concerne 67 parlementaires anciens et actuels du Parti démocratique des peuples, le HDP. Ces personnes sont victimes d'un ensemble de graves violations de leurs droits fondamentaux. Plusieurs d'entre eux, dont des anciens coprésidents du parti, M. Selahattin Demirtas et Mme Figel Yüksekdag, ont été condamnés à de lourdes peines dans le cadre du procès dit de Kobané, dont les modalités et le fond soulèvent de sérieuses préoccupations. Le comité reste vivement préoccupé par le maintien en détention de 6 anciens parlementaires et par le fait que plusieurs autres continuent à faire l'objet de poursuites judiciaires, souvent sur la base d'activités politiques légitimes exercées dans le cadre de leur mandat. Il appelle une nouvelle fois les autorités turques à garantir leur libération immédiate lorsque cela est justifié et à fournir des informations concrètes sur les faits précis qui ont motivé leur condamnation. Dans ce contexte, le comité a également été saisi d'une nouvelle plainte qui concerne 39 autres parlementaires d'opposition en exercice ou anciens. Le comité a déclaré cette plainte recevable et il entend entamer sans délai les contacts et le dialogue constructif avec les autorités turques pour recueillir leurs observations officielles sur ces allégations. Cette décision concerne uniquement le comité à ce stade et elle ne vous est donc pas soumise pour approbation. Enfin, nous voudrions remercier la délégation parlementaire turque pour les échanges que nous avons eus avec elle lors de notre session à Tashkent et nous prenons acte de son invitation à accueillir une mission du comité en Turquie. Nous espérons que cette mission pourra se concrétiser rapidement pour favoriser une meilleure compréhension mutuelle et à terme un règlement équitable de ces affaires. Je vous invite à adopter le projet de décision qui figure en pages 40 et 49 des rapports qui vous ont été remis.
Colleagues, we approve. Thank you so much. It is so decided.
Merci, Madame la Présidente, chers collègues. Les cas que je viens de vous présenter ne sont, hélas, qu'une partie de ceux dont le comité est saisi. Si nous ne présentons pas de décision concernant leur cas aujourd'hui, notre comité continue de les examiner et il suit de près la situation de 880 parlementaires dans 52 pays, dont 57 sont actuellement par des agents de l'État en septembre 2023. Et on ignore aujourd'hui où ils se trouvent. Nous en appelons à l'ensemble des parlements nationaux, aux observateurs permanents de l'Union interparlementaire, aux organisations spécialisées en matière des droits de l'homme, ainsi qu'à la communauté internationale dans son ensemble, afin qu'ils prennent, dans le cadre de leurs mandats respectifs, des mesures urgentes et concrètes pour engager un dialogue constructif avec le gouvernement du Nicaragua pour parvenir dans les meilleurs délais à un règlement de ce cas. Je voudrais également mentionner les cas à l'examen qui concernent le Pakistan, où plusieurs parlementaires continuent de faire l'objet de détentions arbitraires répétées, malgré les appels de ce Conseil à les libérer sans tarder. Madame la Présidente, mes chers collègues, face au nombre sans précédent de cas qui sont portés à notre attention, le constat est clair. L'institution parlementaire et la démocratie sont en danger et il est de notre responsabilité collective de les défendre avec force et détermination. Plus que jamais, le comité voudrait en appeler à chacun d'entre vous, de retour dans vos parlements, mobilisez vos collègues, faites vivre la solidarité parlementaire. Ensemble, nous devons élever nos voix pour celles et ceux de nos collègues qui, aujourd'hui dans le monde, ne peuvent plus faire entendre la leur parce qu'ils sont emprisonnés, menacés ou parce qu'ils sont portés disparus. Ne les oublions pas, notre inaction ne doit pas être une option. Je vous remercie de votre attention.
Before you go, Mr. President, colleagues, I think we all agree that our committee, given the limited time that they have, they're doing a good job. Now that he's going, we should all clap for him on behalf of the entire committee, because this committee works at the core of the work of IPU, and as we have seen, there are positive developments irrespective of the challenges that you go through, Mr. President, and your entire committee. I'm sorry that you had to leave because of some meanings get lost in translation, but we are happy that you were able to do this. So colleagues, also thank all of you for all the efforts that you are taking in terms of ensuring that our colleagues in areas where there are challenges, they are protected. So thank you. Now after having approved all the set of the decisions presented to us by the President of the Committee on Human Rights of Parliamentarians, we will now go to item G. Before you come, Dr. Ali, we have to do some elections. Just hold on for a few minutes. Colleagues, the Governing Council will elect one member to replace Ms. Asiain of Uruguay, who is no longer a member of Parliament. To date, we have received the candidature of Mr. F.J. Chahuan, a senator from Chile, for a 5-year term ending in April 2030. Colleagues, do I take it that you wish to elect the only candidate who we have received so far? He is so elected. Thank you so much, and congratulations to Mr. Chahuan for this, for being entrusted to this very noble job of this important committee. Now we will go to sub-item G, colleagues, because I have been informed here the chair of this committee has another meeting, so he has requested to address us now. The chair of the Gender Partnership Group, Dr. Ali Nuaimi. Please, you have the floor. Come to the podium, and then we will listen to the report. And it's just as good that you're putting on that scarf, which is, you know, showing us that you're really serious about gender issues. Thank you. Dr. Ali, you have the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. Dear colleague, it's an honor for me to stand on this stage today, and it has been a real honor for me to chair the Gender Partnership Group. It's my great pleasure to present to you the report on the work of the Gender Partnership Group. This will be my last time doing so. I have been really honored to have chaired such an important group that promote equal participation of men and women within the IPU and in national parliaments. And I am proud of the result the IPU has achieved over the past years. Here in Tashkent, with Ms. Mikulova from Azerbaijan and Mr. Al-Mudabbar from Spain, and as our peer group mandate, we monitor the participation of women delegates at this assembly. As of yesterday, 37.4% of the delegates presented here were women. This is the best percentages achieved in the past 5 assemblies, and therefore it is a good news. Among the delegation of at least 2 members, 10 were all male and 4 were all female. This is less good as the last assembly, when we had a record low of 7 all-male delegation and 2 all-female delegation composed of at least 2 members. So we know we can do better, and it is our common responsibility to make sure that we progress in this regard. We also looked at the balanced gender of in the delegation. For the second time in a row, we have reached a record high of 49 delegations that were gender balanced, meaning that they include at least 40% women or 40% men. I would like us to pay tribute to the 49 gender balanced delegation that were within the 40-60% ratio. Please let us give them a round of applause. In the year of gender equality at the IPU, we should continue on this path with the aim of achieving a gender parity. I also want to commend the ongoing efforts to continue to include gender-related provision in the IPU statutes and rule, which is now work in progress. I come from a country where a gender parity has been achieved. We know from our experience that quotas work. The group welcomed these proposals and reiterated its commitment to see any future amendment apply to women and men equally. Colleague, the group also took note of progress made in the implementation of the IPU policy against harassment, including sexual harassment. As assemblies and other IPU meetings, we welcome the effort that are being made to raise awareness of the policy and ensure the IPU is a safe place for everyone. At the next assembly in Geneva in October 2025, training of anti-harassment will be offered to participants as a new means to spread the word and make sure we all play our part. And I urge you to make sure that some of your members of your delegation to participate in this program of awareness. Finally, the group reviewed the situation of women in national parliaments and continue to hold dialogues with delegations that have less than 10% women in their lower or single members to offer our support. We are particularly concerned by the slowdown in progress toward gender parity in parliaments and rollback women in dialogue. And we were very happy in the committee to hear the pathway that they are planning to proceed with to promote the gender partnership in their both parliament. And this is where it's very important that the speakers in this parliament and all parliaments, they have to play their role as leader. Leader should lead, and speaker are leader, and this is having the gender partnership should be a priority within the mandate of the responsibility of all speakers. So I urge all speakers to take the lead in making sure that gender partnership goals are met in their parliament. The group offered its support to both parliament towards creating awareness and adopting effective measures for achieving greater women participation. For us, inclusiveness is a pillar of democracy. This requires gender parity in numbers and a culture of parity on all spaces. Together we can make changes happen, and I invite all of us to take part in the IPU campaign, Achieving Gender Equality, Action by Action. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ali. Before you leave, Dr. Ali. Okay, I will speak as he goes. Colleagues, I had spoken. No, I haven't seen any hand, but like I said in the beginning, and I won't repeat myself, but just to thank you so much for the passion that you had in ensuring there is gender parity here at IPU, but there is gender parity in the Parliament of the UAE, and now you have called on other parliaments to do the same. So we would like to thank you for the good work that you have done, and we wish you all the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And you know, a real thanks should be to the team, to the Karen, and the team of the Secretary General. They are champion in this. Thank you.
Colleagues, do I take it that we approve the report? Thank you so much. It is so approved. Sorry. We now go to the Forum of Young Parliamentarians, and I'm going to give the floor to Mr. Dan Carden from the United Kingdom, the outgoing president of the Bureau of Young Parliamentarians, to report on their meeting. But also because where he was seated, for him to have reached the floor, it will take some time. I would like to congratulate him for the good work that he has done to the IPU, and also ensuring that the young members of parliament have a voice here. So, Mr. Dan Carden, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President, Mr. Secretary General, dear colleagues. This is my final duty as President of the Bureau of Young Parliamentarians. The Forum of Young Parliamentarians met to under 40 years of age, and about 15% of all delegates here are under the age of 40. So as we transition to this new rule, we want to see those numbers grow, and I'd like to urge all parliaments to think ahead, to bring members of parliament who are in their 20s and in their 30s to future assemblies, so that we can reach the target of having 25% of all delegates being young members of parliament in future. With this Bureau's mandate concluding at this assembly, we reflected and celebrated the progress that has been made, from successfully lowering the age to be considered a young member of parliament, to building partnerships between young MPs and youth-led organisations outside of parliament. At our forum, we were around the world, including new launches of the I Say Yes to Youth in Parliament campaign in Namibia and Tanzania. Thank you, Madam President, for your support for that campaign in your own country. And we also heard of efforts in countries like Uzbekistan and Egypt to more actively involve youth parliaments and youth councils in the work of their national legislatures. We brought our youth perspectives to the Assembly's general debate, emphasising the need for social development programmes in healthcare and education, and the importance of economic empowerment for young people. We also called for more targeted policies focused on minorities and those in vulnerable and marginalised communities. Youth overview reports to this Assembly's resolutions were also presented. We called for a just and durable two-state solution and highlighted the critical importance of youth participation in peace and security efforts, in line with the UN Security Council Resolution 2250. And our forum elected a new bureau to serve for the next 2 years, and that bureau then elected a new president, Ms. Noor Abu Ghosh from Jordan. Can I ask that we all give Noor a big round of applause as new President of the Forum for Young Parliamentarians. Nor could I ask you to come and join me at the podium. Before I hand over the floor, allow me to say what an honour it has been to serve as President of the Bureau for the past 2 years. I think the young MPs and I want to thank the young MPs who have supported me on the Bureau and the IPU leadership for their support and collaboration during that time. And nor may I wish you all the very best as you take our work forward. Once again, could we congratulate the next President of the Bureau of Young Parliamentarians. Thank you, Mel.
Thank you, Dan, for your leadership these past 2 years. I am deeply honored to have been elected as the President of PRIO, and I look forward to building on the medium we have created to take our youth movement forward. To conclude with the report, at our forum, we appointed Kamal Eitmek from Morocco to prepare the Youth Overview Report on the topic of illegal adoption, which will be discussed at the next assembly in Geneva. Ladies and gentlemen, as I said at the forum, I believe that the power of youth is unbreakable. I know our solidarity and determination will carry us far in this next chapter. Thank you all.
The two of you, before you go, while I would like to take this opportunity as President of IPU on behalf of the entire family of IPU to congratulate you, Ms. Gush from Jordan, for assuming this position, a very important one where you're going to be inspiring more young people joining politics, but also joining houses of representatives. So we wish you all the best.
Thank you.
At the same time, Dan, thank you so much for the service to IPU and for fighting for young members of parliament's cause, but also please be ready to offer advice and share experience with the new incoming president of the Forum of Young Parliamentarians. The two of you make a very good pair, and we hope you will be able to work together in due course. All the best, and you're welcome to the team.
Presidenta,
Ms. Gush.
por favor, si me permite unas palabras de Perú.
Okay, so before you go, Peru has something. You can have seats. Peru, you have the floor.
Está, ¿no? Hablo, ¿no? Presidenta, muchas gracias. Saludos desde el Parlamento de Perú. Saludos también a la Secretaría de la Unión Interparlamentaria. En principio, quiero agradecer a su presidencia por haber aceptado que el próximo Conferencia Mundial de Jóvenes Parlamentarios se va a llevarse en Perú. Así que lo esperamos con brazos abiertos en septiembre. Seguramente vamos a recibir a muchos jóvenes parlamentarios de diferentes partes del mundo, diferentes parlamentos. Así que hemos estado participando activamente. Hemos estado en Vietnam. Hace poco también, año pasado, se ha hecho en Armenia. Esperamos organizar conjuntamente con el apoyo de la UIP en Perú. Así que lo esperamos. Ahí también tenemos rica cultura, rica gastronomía y sobre todo también tenemos una de las maravillas, Machu Picchu, y seguramente varios parlamentarios y jóvenes parlamentarios van a esperar conocer mi tierra y sobre todo un saludo cordial del actual presidente también del Congreso de la República, de don Eduardo Saluana, quien tuvo el honor de aceptarnos realizar este evento y le agradezco, muchísimas gracias.
Thank you so much. So, colleagues, do I take it that we approve the report by the outgoing president of the Forum of Young Parliamentarians, shared with the incoming president? Yes, it is so approved. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Colleagues, Colleagues, the Governing Council is invited to endorse the election of the following board members for a 2-year term ending in April 2027. As we have just heard now that Ms. Gush from Jordan has been elected president of the board, and we have just congratulated her. And according to Rule 5, Sub-Rule 3 of the Forum's rules, the Bureau shall be composed of 2 representatives from each of the IPU geopolitical groups, a man and a woman below the age of 40 years. We have received the following candidatures. Africa Group, Mr. Koko from Chad, and the female position is vacant. And the Arab group, we have Ms. Gush, who has just won the presidency, but also Mr. Hassan from Bahrain. The Asia Pacific group, we have Mr. Singh from India and Ms. Singh from India and Mr. Durrani from Pakistan. Eurasia group, Ms. Hakobian from Armenia and Mr. Ismailov from Azerbaijan. Group of Latin America and the Caribbean, Ms. Sierra from Uruguay and Mr. Soto from Peru. 12+ group, Mr. Dan Kaden, United Kingdom, and Ms. Ivana Stamatovic, Ukraine. Colleagues, may I take it that you wish to endorse these elections? Thank you so much. It is so decided. Was there anyone? No. Okay. Thank you so much, and congratulations to all of you, dear colleagues, and wish you all the best. Now, colleagues, we will go to sub-item D, Task Force on the Peaceful Resolution of the War in Ukraine. And I'm going to now invite Speaker Farugia from Malta to report on their meeting. Speaker Farugia. Oh, okay. So he's on his way here. And while he's coming, I would like to also thank him in advance for the good work that this task force is doing. Irrespective of the challenges, but you're doing a good job. So, Speaker Farugia, you have the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Since the establishment of this task force in March 2022, the task force on the peaceful resolution of the war of Ukraine has worked to foster political dialogue in support of peace-building efforts, while exploring possible avenues for cooperation to help address the humanitarian consequences of this conflict. The task force remains deeply concerned about the ongoing war, which has resulted in the widespread destruction of critical infrastructure and a tragic toll in human lives on both sides. At its 13th meeting held in October 2024, the task force initiated discussions with both delegations on 5 individual cases involving children relocated from Ukraine to the Russian Federation. It has also held an exchange with a representative of the Ukrainian Parliament Commissioner for Human Rights, and the task force welcomed the constructive tone of the discussions, and in particular, the shared understanding expressed by parliamentarians from both countries that any children separated from their parents, siblings, legal guardians, or close relatives should be reunited with their families. Both sides also signaled the willingness to assist the task force in advancing this process. Following the meeting, the IPU Secretariat engaged in discrete consultations with the International Committee of the Red Cross to gain deeper insight into the legal and humanitarian dimensions of the issue, and also to explore potential pathways for addressing the cases in question. The task force also maintained ongoing contact with both parties, facilitating the exchange of information and also the legal perspectives related to the cases. The task force held its 14th meeting on the 7th of April this year, here, during the 150th IPU Assembly, and continued discussions with both delegations on the above-mentioned cases. The task force was encouraged by the fact that parliamentarians from both countries understood and underscored that any children who have been separated from their parents, siblings, legal guardians, or close relatives should be reunited with them, as well as the readiness to assist the task force in this process, including on any new cases presented. The task force also noted that recent months had seen a marked acceleration of global developments and diplomatic efforts aimed at addressing the war in Ukraine and secured a negotiated solution to the conflict. In keeping with the IPU's founding mission to provide a platform for parliamentary diplomacy and dialogue for peace, and as the last remaining forum where both Russian and Ukrainian parliamentarians continue to engage, the task force discussed with both delegations possible opportunities to complement governmental efforts already underway. These discussions also extended more broadly to matters related to European security and the potential role of parliamentary dialogue in fostering stability and mutual understanding. While both delegations had indicated that they did not hold a mandate to engage in negotiations, the task force welcomed the fact that each expressed openness to exploring ways to make better use of the platform provided through the IPU, including through enhanced communication and more regular exchanges between the two assemblies. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Speaker Farugia. Colleagues, I don't see any hand. Do I take it that we approve the report? Thank you very much. It is so decided.
Thank you very much.
Speaker Farugia, thank you so much for this report, but also for the dedication that you have to ensuring we keep building on the small gains and those that we haven't gained yet to keep pushing. Thank you. Thank you so much to you and your colleagues. Colleagues, we were supposed to go to sub-item E, but I have received a request from the President of the Forum of Women Parliamentarians at IPU, whose report was supposed to come under item 15 of the all in agreement with this request. So I'm going to call Cynthia. Cynthia. Cynthia, are you in the room? Okay, so we will proceed, but you have already had the request. So we will go to item E, Committee on the Middle East Questions. Now I'll give the floor to Mr. Talsma from the Netherlands to come and present to us, as he's serving as the President of the committee, and he's going to give us the report. Mr. Talsma, please, you have the floor.
Kata Rahmat, thank you very much, Madam President. On behalf of the Committee on Middle East Questions, I am pleased to deliver this report on the committee's recent activities. And here in Tashkent, I would like to start with a reference to one of the beacons of Uzbekistan's culture, the 15th century poet and statesman Alisher Navoy. In one of his many works, he wrote, "Understand, people of all the earth, enmity is a bad thing. Live in peace amongst one another. There is no better lot." Dear colleagues, since the last assembly, the committee has convened against a backdrop of deepening and shifting tensions in the Middle East, marked by the continuing humanitarian crisis in Gaza and the West Bank, as well as growing instability in Syria and Yemen. These developments not only underline the urgency of our work, but also challenge us to rethink how we can better serve our mandate. On the 12th of March, the committee held an informal online meeting to discuss proposed structural amendments to its composition and working modalities. And in that meeting, we reflected on how the committee might become more representative, effective, and responsive to today's complex realities. A formal meeting followed on 6 and 8 April, during which the committee renewed the one-year mandate of its president, and a key item on the agenda was the consideration of a structural reform aimed at enhancing the committee's ability to address a broader range of regional crises in a manner that is inclusive, balanced, and impactful. Members discussed how a more diversified membership, improved geographical representation, and the creation of thematic subgroups could ensure that no conflict is left unaddressed and no voice unheard. The proposed changes, Madam President, aim to encourage meaningful engagement across the region, moving beyond long-standing positions and opening space for renewed perspectives. In doing so, the Committee on Middle East Questions hopes to reinvigorate its role as a space for constructive dialogue. Members engaged with the proposal, offering valuable suggestions that will inform further discussions on how to shape the committee's future work. Importantly, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict remains central to the committee's mandate. But this initiative is also a call to acknowledge and respond to the growing number of crises that demand our attention. The committee also heard a compelling briefing by Mrs. Lorenzo, representative of the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees in the Near East, UNRWA, about the humanitarian suffering in Gaza and the West Bank. She spoke not only of the destruction and displacement, but also of the immense challenges faced by those striving to keep essential services running amid chaos. Her words were a sobering reminder of what is at stake and of the profound human cost of inaction. Members expressed deep concern and reiterated the vital and obviously irreplaceable role of UNRWA, not only as a lifeline for immediate relief, but also as a glimpse of hope for future generations. Education, healthcare, and stability are not luxuries. They are the building blocks of coexistence. And preserving UNRWA's mandate is essential to keeping that future within reach for the people of Palestine. The committee also welcomed the presentation by Mr. Abdullah Al-Manai, Executive Director of the King Hamad Global Center for Coexistence and Tolerance. The discussion underscored the shared belief in the power of dialogue, education, and inclusive legislation to foster peace and resilience in the region. To conclude, Madam President, dear fellow parliamentarians, the committee reaffirmed its support for a just and lasting resolution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict based on the two-state solution, in line with international law and relevant UN resolutions. Members also expressed a clear willingness to revitalize the committee's role, embracing reform not for its own sake, but to create space for more inclusive, dynamic and responsive parliamentary dialogue. The road ahead may be difficult, but the conversations held during this session were marked by renewed openness and commitment. Through collective effort and parliamentary diplomacy, the committee stands ready to adapt, not only to reflect today's realities, but to help shape a future where all voices are heard and where peace becomes not only imaginable, but achievable. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Talsma. Colleagues, I don't see any hand. Do I take it that we approve the report? It is so approved. Thank you so much, Mr. President, for the report, but we also look forward to all the commitments you have made about the way forward. Dear colleagues, the Council is called upon to elect 2 members to replace a woman and one man to the Committee on Middle East Questions for a 4-year term ending April 2029. I should specify at this time that although the composition of this committee should reflect a diverse political representation, members of this committee are elected in their individual capacity, not as representatives of the parliament or a geopolitical group. We have received the following candidature: Mr. J. Juwaini from Indonesia. Colleagues, do I take it that we elect our colleague as presented? There is no hand. Thank you so much. It is so decided. Congratulations, dear Juwaini. Colleagues, we move to our next report, which is Committee to Promote Respect for International Humanitarian Law, and I'll take this opportunity to welcome once again Speaker Farugia, the Speaker of Malta, the President of the Committee to Promote Respect for International Humanitarian Law, to report to us about this meeting. Speaker Farugia?
He's coming. He's coming.
Okay.
Thank you, Chair. As my first session as President of the Committee to Promote Respect for International Humanitarian Law, I would like to thank all my colleagues in the committee for entrusting me with this role, and which will build on all the efforts already done by my predecessor, Mr. John Kiariri from Kenya. I would like also to pay tribute to 3 outgoing members of the committee: the chairperson, the former chairperson, Mr. Kiari of Kenya, Mr. O'Neill of Australia, and Mr. Al-Salahi of Iraq, who are ending their term here in Tashkent. Thank you for all your dedication and support, and we hope that those who will follow will be as engaged, as effective as these 3 who are outgoing. Thank you very much. Colleagues, our session in Tashkent was yet again a refugee protection and also ending statelessness. With that, I would like to turn to 2 points that we discussed. The first concerned the situation in Myanmar, especially the situation of the Rohingya refugees. There are currently 1.5 million Myanmar refugees and asylum seekers in Asia and the Pacific.
1.1 million are stateless Rohingya, 3.5 million are internally displaced due to conflict. Thousands of people have died or been injured as a result of the earthquake that hit the country recently in March 2025, and 20 million people are currently living in impacted areas. The Rohingya community, in particular, have been subject to violence and marginalization in different contexts and have been forced to undertake dangerous boat journeys to flee the conflict. This has posed a high risk to their life. Myanmar remains among the world's most underfunded humanitarian response plans. Despite the efforts of the international community to bring accountability to the atrocities committed in this conflict, the people of Myanmar and the Rohingya community living in the neighborhood countries continue to suffer. Access to humanitarian assistance has been also impeded, and funding to life-saving aid has been cut, and this will only lead to more suffering. And this is why we need our voice. We need all your voices as political leaders to put an end to this human tragedy. Please raise the situation of Myanmar and of the Rohingya community in your respective parliaments. And please support all assistance efforts to civilians affected by this conflict and the Myanmar refugees who are being marginalized in neighboring countries or even losing their life at sea. The second main topic of discussion concerned promoting respect of international humanitarian law. The ICRC, International Red Cross, has launched a global initiative to galvanize political commitment to the international humanitarian law, which aims to make international humanitarian law a political priority at global, regional, and domestic levels. And this, colleagues, I repeat, the aim is that international humanitarian law has to be a political priority, a political priority. This is in our hands. We call all of us, all of you, all parliamentarians, to make international humanitarian law a political priority in our parliament, in our national parliament, so that we bring the matter of the global initiative also in our parliament. We identify priorities and also engage in discussions and actions at the national level. Respecting and ensuring respect for international humanitarian law must be a priority for all of us, all of us. Last, I would like to end on also a positive note, not only a negative one, but we have also a very important share, a positive note. So I would like to share it. As you know, colleagues, the committee also discusses matters related to statelessness. In our meeting, we have been appraised on the recent developments in Malaysia, who has recently also adopted constitutional amendments granting Malaysian women the equal right to confer automatic citizenship to their children born overseas. And this is very important, and thank you, Malaysia. Thank you. This is great news for us. Congratulations to Malaysia again. We look forward for these new provisions to be effectively enforced. Madam President, the committee will continue its efforts to mobilize parliaments regarding the impact of conflict worldwide. Amidst global security trends, including the actions by some states to cut funding for humanitarian assistance, we will continue to raise awareness on situations of humanitarian concern and call on the global community to act. Thank you, Madam Chair. This is my report. Thank you all, and I thank you all the members of this committee. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. President, for that report. Colleagues, I don't see any hand. Do I take it that we approve the report presented? Thank you very much. It is so decided, but we also take note of the positive developments that you have just shared. Thank you so much, Mr. President. We appreciate it. Colleagues, the Council is called upon to elect 4 members as follows. The African Group, 1 vacancy to be filled by a man to replace Mr. Kiarie of Kenya, whose mandate ends at the 150th Assembly. The Arab Group, 1 vacancy to be filled by a man to replace Mr. Al-Sahili from Iraq, whose mandate ends at this Assembly. Asia Pacific Group, 1 vacancy to be filled by a woman to replace Ms. Deborah O'Neill from Australia, whose mandate ends at this Assembly. And Eurasia Group, 1 vacancy to be filled by a man to replace Mr. Shichevinci from the Republic of Moldova for the seat that was not filled at the 213th session of the Governing Council. We have received the following candidatures. Africa Group, Mr. Gwenchuba, a member of the Council of the Nation from Algeria. Arab Group, Mr. Nadar, member of the Council of Representatives from Iraq. Asia Pacific Group, Ms. Sehrawat, member of the Lok Sabha, India. Eurasia Group, the position remains vacant. So, colleagues, do I take it that we elect these 3 candidates presented to you for these positions? It is so decided. Thank you very much. And congratulations to all the colleagues. And now, colleagues, I had already explained about the requests of one report under item 15 of the agenda to be presented now by Cynthia. So she's here. Cynthia Castro-Lopez, you have the floor to present the report of one of the specialized meetings that took place.
Thank you, President. Governing Council, dear President, Secretary General, dear colleagues. As you know, this year, 2025, is one of many milestones for gender equality and its remarks of the 30th anniversary of Beijing Declaration at Platform Action. This happens at the time when we are witnessing slow-down progress in women's participation in Parliament and rollback on women's and girls' rights. In this context, I am proud that our organization has identified gender equality as a priority theme of this year. I am thrilled that on this important occasion, we could hold the Global Conference of Women Parliamentarians in the first time of the history of IPU, proudly in my country, Mexico. I have the immense pleasure and honor to host in my country this conference that was called From Mexico to the World, Let's Mobilize Women for Parity. I want to thank you, all of you that were participating in this conference. I'm also thrilled that the conference was held under the auspices of the President, Claudia Sheinbaum. So from here, I want to thank the President of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum, for all her support to make the conference possible. President Claudia Sheinbaum, thank you so much for making this possible. I also want to thank President Tulia Axon and the IPU Secretary General Martin Chungong supporting the Conference of Women Parliamentarians. Dear President, dear Secretary General, my deeply thanks to York and your support also to the Executive Committee members. I also feel very proud and happy that so many of you were there. Thanks for your effort. Thanks for making budget to go. Thanks for traveling so many hours to be in this first conference. More than 389 members of parliament and 37 male members of parliament that were attending. Thank you so much, all my colleagues, to make it possible. Your participation, incredible, rich contributions, and unwavering dedication made of this conference not just a meeting but a turning point for parity. So with this slogan, from Mexico to the rest of the world, mobilize parity, with all the support also of our speaker, Bernardo Fernández Noroña. Thank you so much, the Speaker of Mexico, President Noroña, for all the support to make it is possible, and the coordinator of the parliamentary group, Adán Augusto López. So, of course, like any plan draw internationally, it will be need to adapt it to our context and realities, but it's a common goal to advance toward each at their own pace. So the plan is based in 3 actions. First is to achieve parity in numbers by electing equal numbers of women and men in parliament and ensuring diversity among all of them. Now, women, we are more than half of the population, and we are just represented in the 28% in parliaments. So we need to have the 50% of representation in parliaments. Second, to reach parity in leadership and influence in parliament, we need more women in the political parties, more women as chairperson, more women as speakers. We want women in the front in our countries. 3 is to foster a parity culture in our parliament by creating gender-sensitive culture and by adopting zero tolerance for sexism, harassment, and violence against women in parliament. So let's take this plan to implement it, even if it takes time. Let's put things on the right track. So now I ask you to work together so we can do it and we can keep working to have parity in the world. So this conference on Mexico, it was the first conference of women parliamentarians in the history of IPU, and we will be having the next conference of women's parliamentarians 2026 in Serbia with all your support. So this conference called for this plan of actions to be adopted by the Governing Council here in Tashkent. I hope you will all support this endeavor. Thank you so much for your support and your attention. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cynthia. Once again, congratulations for a conference that was very successful, and we appreciate all the arrangements that were put in place, but also the resources that were committed to making this conference a success. And since it was an inaugural one, we will always remember that it began from Mexico under your leadership as president of the Forum of Women Parliamentarians. Thank you. And at the same time, congratulations for your elections yesterday, for the women having trusted you for this position again, and all the best. Colleagues, we will now go back to our item 14 of the agenda. We will go to the sub-item H, Advisory Group on Health. So I am now going to invite Ms. Oral Ataniyazova from Uzbekistan, member of the Advisory Group on Health, to represent the report on their meeting. Madam Oral, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Madam President and dear colleagues. It's a great pleasure for me and honor on behalf of Advisory Group on Health to make a report on activities of our group during these days. The Advisory Group on Health met on the 7th of April for its 32nd and last meeting before its transformation into IPU committee. We highlighted the importance of monitoring parliamentary efforts on universal health coverage based on 2019's IPU resolution achieving a universal health coverage by 2030, the role of Parliament...
Hold on, Madam Chair, hold on.
Close, okay.
Yes, please, you can start again.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We highlighted the importance of monitoring parliamentary efforts on universal health coverage based on the 2019 IPU resolution, achieving universal health coverage by 2030, the role of parliaments in ensuring the rights to health. We recalled work to date on this matter, including the production of 2 reports on the implementation of the resolution. We adopted a revised accountability framework focusing on legal provisions for UHC, barriers to access to health, and the protection of sexual and reproductive health and rights. Measures include a review of existing data to take stock of global progress and gaps, and direct engagement with parliamentary delegations to ensure enhanced ownership of the UHC resolution. The World Health Organization, as a technical partner of advisory group, stands ready to support the process. Madam President, on the 8th of April, the advisory group on health members with international experts and parliamentarians from different countries participated in the field visit to assess primary health care system in Uzbekistan. We visited family polyclinic in Tashkent, where we are able to see how is implementing the IPU universal health coverage resolution. Uzbekistan has a unique experience on successful and close collaboration of parliament health system, international partners such as WHO, UNICEF, PMNCH, and others, and local communities. As a result, Uzbekistan achieved tremendous results in declining maternal and child mortality. The level of maternal mortality was declined 4 times during the last 7 years. We also selected on the shift in the global health funding landscape caused by cuts of global health aid, as well as on the wider question on the place of health and development in a world market by conflict and crisis of different natures. We heard reports from WHO and the Partnership for Maternal, Newborn, and Child Health on the negative consequences of this shift in the health-related areas, such as immunization, health emergencies, the collection of health data at the national level, and the promotion of women's empowerment and diversity. Finally, we took stock on the group's work since its inception in 2006, including the documentation of law reforms to strengthen national HIV/AIDS responses, the first attempt to document parliamentary contribution towards UHC, and constant attention and dialogue on sensitive topics such as sexual and reproductive health and rights. We highlighted the relevance of the current health priorities going forward. We expressed our wish to the new Committee on Health of IPU to build on the strong legacy of the advisory group and continue raising the visibility of health within the IPU. Thank you very much for your attention.
Leadership to this committee, we really appreciate your service. Thank you. Colleagues, I understand we have a video from the Director General. Yeah. So we will watch the video from the Director General of the WHO. Technical people, can you please assist with this?
Dear Madam President Tulia Akshen, Secretary General Martin Chungong, distinguished President of the Assembly, honorable members of Parliament, dear colleagues and friends. I thank the Inter-Parliamentary Union and the Parliament of the Republic of Uzbekistan for the honor of addressing you today. I commend you for your focus at this Assembly on social development, equity, and justice. Health is central to each of these goals. Parliaments play a vital role at this crucial period when the world is facing many geopolitical challenges and multilateralism is under assault. Dramatic cuts to official development assistance are causing severe disruptions to programs to fight HIV, malaria, tuberculosis, polio, and the response to emergencies, including the horrific earthquake in Myanmar. WHO is committed to working with the IPU to inform and support parliaments on global health priorities. At the next World Health Assembly, IPU is hosting a global parliamentary event to discuss your role in global health priorities, including the new pandemic agreement and the critical issue of sustainable financing. We encourage all of you to join your national delegation at the World Health Assembly to make your voice heard and to translate global health decisions into national level action. Thank you once again for your leadership and partnership as we work together for a healthier, safer, and fairer world. I thank you.
Thank you so much. I would like to take this opportunity to thank him for the invitation, and of course we hope and we count on him to participate at the event that he has just announced. Dear colleagues, the Council is called upon to elect 15 members for a 4-year term ending in April 2029. We have received the following candidatures. Ms. Al-Mansour, member of the Federal National Council, United Arab Emirates. Ms. Muyeka Muma, member of the Senate, Kenya. Ms. Jaiswal, member of the Lok Sabha, India. Ms. Avila, member of the Chamber of Deputies, Mexico. Sorry, Jaiswal is Mr. Sorry. Mr. Jaiswal, member of the Lok Sabha, India. Ms. Avila, Chamber of Deputies, Mexico. Ms. Thielen, member of the House of the Representatives from Netherlands. Mr. Lochen, member of the National Council, Switzerland. Ms. Ilimi, member of the National People's Assembly, Algeria. Ms. Clifford Lee, Senator, Ireland. Mr. Houghton, member of the National Assembly, France. Ms. Tangi Muteka, member of the National Council, Namibia. Ms. Gautam, member of the House of Representatives, Nepal. Ms. Ataniazova, member of the Senate, Uzbekistan. Ms. Shabangu, member of the Senate, Zimbabwe. Colleagues, may I take it that you wish to elect these members that I've just read? Thank you so much. It is so decided. Now we go to sub-item I, High-Level Advisory Group on Countering Terrorism and Violent Extremism. I will now give the floor to Ms. Castillo Guerra from Mexico, who is the newly elected chair of the High-Level Advisory Group on Countering Terrorism and Violent Extremism. She's going to present the report, and as you can see, she's looking great in that Azerbaijan dress. Uzbekistan. Sorry, Uzbekistan dress.
This one.
Yes.
Gracias, señora presidenta. Excelentísimos colegas, honorable asamblea. Es un honor dirigirme a ustedes en mi calidad de presidenta del Grupo Asesor de alto nivel sobre la lucha contra el terrorismo y la violencia extrema. Hoy les presentaremos los resultados de nuestra reunión celebrada este 5 de abril del año en curso, 2025, y donde tuvimos elecciones para la presidencia y la vicepresidencia del grupo, en la cual tuve el honor y el privilegio de ser electa presidenta de este grupo, y lo cual agradezco a mis colegas. Y estoy plenamente comprometida a continuar con el importante trabajo del grupo que se lleva a cabo todo el tiempo. Asimismo, saludar y darle la bienvenida a la honorable Leticia Saint-Paul de Francia, quien también fue electa como vicepresidenta. Un saludo para ella estimada vicepresidenta. Vamos a trabajar juntas, unidas, para tener una paz duradera en todas las zonas que lo requieren. Todos los miembros trabajaremos para avanzar en las tareas y fortalecer nuestras acciones globales en la lucha contra el terrorismo, que tanto nos lacera, y el extremismo violento. Abordamos temas importantes para la seguridad global y la estabilidad regional. Y un punto clave fue la definición de terrorismo, sobre la cual se presentaron los avances en las reuniones distintas con expertos, organizadas todas ellas por la Secretaría de la Unión Interparlamentaria, el pasado 13 de marzo. En esta reunión se destacaron los elementos que guiarán nuestra acción, nuestro trabajo, en la definición del terrorismo y la importancia de considerar los avances alcanzados en diversos foros internacionales. Se puntualizó que las medidas contra el terrorismo no sean utilizadas de manera inapropiada para reprimir opositores, para reprimir defensores de los derechos humanos o para reprimir grupos legítimos de la sociedad civil. Coincidimos en que la definición del terrorismo debe de ser clara y despolitizada, incluyendo dos elementos esenciales. El primero, la condena de actos criminales que causen intencionalmente la muerte o daño grave. Segundo, la intención específica más allá del acto en sí, como la intimidación a una población o la coerción a un gobierno u organización internacional para que tome o se abstenga de tomar una acción concreta. Se subrayó la importancia entonces de evitar la clasificación errónea y confusa de otras formas de violencia con el terrorismo. Otro punto destacado fue la presentación del programa de trabajo 2025, ya actualizado, y que incluye nuevas reuniones, nuevas actividades y encuentros sobre la misma definición del terrorismo que tenemos que alcanzar, que tenemos que lograr, y también la inteligencia artificial en el contexto también del terrorismo y el crimen organizado transnacional, la relación entre la migración y la prevención de la violencia extrema, y también tuvimos una discusión preliminar sobre el impacto de las nuevas tecnologías, en particular la inteligencia artificial, en relación con el terrorismo y el crimen organizado transnacional que tanto lacera a nuestras sociedades, destacando la preocupación que representa la inteligencia artificial para la seguridad y por lo cual se acordó convocar a una reunión de análisis para definir el rol de los parlamentos y establecer los pasos a seguir. El Corps du Sahel, iniciativa clave para enfrentar los desafíos de la región. Se acordó en ello el plan de trabajo del Comité Ad Hoc, coordinado por esta presidencia, y 5 facilitadores en las áreas estratégicas. Me permito entonces enumerarlas. Desarrollo, educación, seguridad, medio ambiente y comunidades, todas alineadas a los objetivos de desarrollo sostenible en coordinación con agencias internacionales para promover la paz duradera y el desarrollo en esta región crítica. Agradecemos entonces, de corazón el respaldo de las organizaciones internacionales que han colaborado con este programa decididamente. Agradecemos también el apoyo con determinación de nuestros donantes para continuar con éxito este programa, por una paz duradera y sostenible. Muchas gracias por su atención. Gracias, señora presidenta.
Thank you so much. Colleagues, I don't see any hands. Do I take it that we approve the report? Thank you very much, our chair of the High-Level Advisory Group on Countering Terrorism and Violent Extremism, and we wish you all the best in your mandate that you have been just recently elected to. Okay. Colleagues, we are called upon as the Council to elect 6 members for the vacancies on the High-Level Advisory Group on Countering Terrorism and Violent Extremism for a 4-year term ending in April 2029. We have received the following candidatures. African Group, Mr. Okwisia Makali, Kenya, Mr. Ekwisia Makali, Kenya, Ms. Amero, Uganda, Asia Pacific, Mr. Akil Malik, Pakistan, Eurasia, vacant, Group of Latin America and the Caribbean, vacant, and 12+ group, Ms. Miluite, Member of Parliament, Lithuania. Colleagues, do I take it that we elect these members as presented to us? Thank you so much. It is so decided. And congratulations to all of you for these elections and, of course, your new chair, and we wish you all the best. Colleagues, we will now go to item J, the group of facilitators for Cyprus. Colleagues, this group also met, the members met and produced the report, and I'm going to invite Mr. Wehley, who is the chair of that group, to present their report. He is also serving as the president of the 12+ group. Mr. Wehley, you have the floor.
Merci beaucoup, Madame la Présidente. Madame la Présidente, Monsieur le Secrétaire général, chers et chers collègues, Mesdames et Messieurs, le groupe de facilitateurs pour Chypre s'est réuni le 5 avril 2025. Étaient présents les 3 facilitateurs, mes collègues M. Arskayan d'Arménie et M. Carneiro du Portugal, ainsi que moi-même, donc Laurent Verly de Suisse, avec 3 membres de la délégation chypriote auprès de l'Union interparlementaire, représentant la Chambre des représentants de la République de Chypre et 3 représentants des partis politiques chypriotes turcs. Les partis ont exprimé l'espoir que la conférence informelle à 5 sur le problème chypriote, convoquée par le secrétaire général de l'ONU à Genève les 17 et 18 mars 2025, conduira à créer une dynamique pour la reprise des pourparlers afin de parvenir à une solution durable au problème chypriote, fondée sur une fédération bizonale et bicommunautaire, conformément aux décisions pertinentes du Conseil de sécurité de l'ONU et alignée sur les valeurs et principes européens. Les partis, lors de la séance de cette semaine, ont également convenu, au cours des prochaines sessions du groupe, de convenir d'une ou plusieurs propositions d'action concrètes que les partis pourraient prendre pour soutenir les mesures de confiance convenues lors de la récente réunion à Genève que je viens d'évoquer, visant ainsi à renforcer la confiance entre les communautés. Madame la Présidente, chers et chers collègues, le groupe de facilitateurs continuera donc son travail dans cet esprit et se réjouit de pouvoir compter sur l'engagement de nos amis chypriotes afin de trouver ces propositions concrètes d'action. Je tiens encore à remercier les différents collègues de Chypre présents et volontaires, ainsi que mes collègues facilitateurs pour la qualité des travaux que nous avons pu conduire. Merci également à notre secrétaire général de l'attention qu'il porte à ce dossier et de ses différentes actions complémentaires. Je vous remercie de votre attention.
Merci, colleagues. That's the report that we have had from our colleague and the work that they have been doing. Do we approve the report?
I've got an observation.
Sorry? Oh, President Welly, you can have a seat as I give the floor to Zimbabwe. They have an observation. Speaker Mudenda from Zimbabwe, you have the floor, please.
I would like to support the statement made by the last speaker. I don't know whether Madam President, you can allow on a general observation about these working groups and the task force.
Go ahead, Mr. Speaker. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Madam President. It is my observation that where we have some conflict around the world, we've established either a task force, a committee, such as the one on Middle East, a committee to respect international humanitarian law, high-level advisory group on terrorism, and the last one, group of facilitators for Cyprus. Madam President, these groups are doing an excellent job. But I observe that Africa is being left out completely. And yet there are serious conflicts that are taking place in Africa, such as in the DRC, where, for example, since 1996, we have now lost 6 million lives in the eastern DRC. We have a serious conflict in Sudan happening now, where 14,000 people have died and 400,000 people displaced as refugees. But there's no task force. There's no working group to address such catastrophic happenings in Africa. It is my plea to you, Madam President and Secretary General, that you may consider a working group to address certain conflict areas that have persisted in Africa.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker.
If I may conclude, any life lost in Palestine, any life lost in Ukraine-Russia conflict, any life lost in Cyprus, surely is equated to a life lost in Africa. There's no better life in terms of humanity that is better than others. So IPU must pay special attention to the need for humanitarian application of humanitarian law, ending of conflict in Africa. Africa must not be left out insofar as finding some assistance to end some conflicts in Africa. I so submit, Madam President.
Colleagues, I think although this is going to form part of this part of the proceedings, but it's not for the president of the group to respond. It is addressed to the leadership of IPU. So before we approve the report, I would like to report to you, one, that the bodies that are established within the IPU to deal with different challenges or conflicts that we go through, they usually come through a particular process. One of those processes is where the committees would have dealt with a particular matter and they come up with a recommendation, and once these are approved like we are doing now, then it means that body is going to be established. That's one way. But the other way is where we have had resolutions in respect of the issues that are presented to us, meaning those resolutions would have suggested what to do in a particular situation or in a particular conflict. So that's how these bodies are established. But let me also just add that currently the list that we have of conflicts at the IPU are more than 44. So, Mr. Speaker, you're right that every life counts, but at the same time, we also have to use these channels that are available to be able to discuss or canvass on the other issues that other parts of the world are also suffering. And you might remember, and I think I reminded you this morning, that in the Assembly the other day on 7th, in canvassing all this, we actually have directed, as the ExCom, direct the Secretary General to look at the multiplicity and proliferation of these bodies handling different issues within the IPU. We want to make them more effective in the sense that we have standing committees which are handling these matters, and then at times you have 5 more bodies established to deal with what a particular committee could. Under the same scenario, that's when we came up with an issue of saying, because some conflicts or some challenges don't make it to be discussed in this body, that's why we came up with that trial, which was toppled down here. Well, not really toppled down, but was brought to its knees. English is not my first language. Was refused. Yeah, was not endorsed in this. So that was the process towards going to a situation where this House will be able to discuss a number of issues at the same time instead of concentrating on only 1 or 2 issues that happen in the world, because the world is diverse. We have 6 geopolitical groups here, and the challenges in one geopolitical group may not affect necessarily the same way the other group. So that was part of the process. But anyway, the point that the speaker from Zimbabwe has raised has been noted, and I think, Mr. Secretary General, because you're here, when you're looking at the proliferation and multiplication of these bodies, you're also going to look into how best we can utilize the existing committees and the mechanisms that we have, given the fact that we want to stick to our rules and not be maybe flexible in a way that we all feel uncomfortable and doing things outside our rules. So that said, Mr. Whaley, thank you so much for the report, and we really appreciate the good work that you're doing. And colleagues, do I take it that we approve the report that is presented by our chair? It is so approved. Thank you very much. We now go to K. Sub-item K, Working Group on Science and Technology, and I'm going to ask now the chair, Ms. Cederfelt from Sweden, to come and present the report of this working group. So you have the floor, Madam Cederfelt.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, Mr. Secretary General, fellow members of Parliament, ladies and gentlemen, I am delighted to report on the meeting of the Working Group on Science and Technology. Let's begin by looking back at the Parliamentarians Roundtable held at the 12th World Urban Forum in Cairo. In November last year, organized Housing, Climate Resilience and Equality. The message was clear. When we, parliamentarians with intentions to shape a more sustainable cities and more just societies, we can make efforts. The working group was invited to join the Earth Humanity Coalition's initiative, led by UNESCO. This cross-sectoral alliance, part of the UN Decade of Science for Sustainable Development, calls on all of us to connect science with governance to address global challenges in relation to sustainable development. The working group agreed that integrating science into decision-making is not a luxury, it's necessary. And in that spirit, we will revisit this invitation with care at our next meeting. Looking ahead, members were encouraged to attend key forums, including the UN STI Forum in New York next month, and the International Joint Conference on Neural Network in Rome in July. Both offers spaces to raise the profile of the work of the working group, from the Charter on the Ethics of Science and Technology to our Science for Peace schools, and to engage with the ethical and regulatory frontiers of artificial intelligence. The working group had a dear and special guest at our meeting here in Uzbekistan, Mr. Dennis Norton, the former chairperson of the group and also former member of IPU, who presented the result of a recent survey done under his leadership on how parliamentarians use scientific research in our work. The findings were sobering. Limited times, scarce resources, and overly technical language continue to prevent science from fully informing policymakers. We noted a regional imbalance in the responses. Half of the response came from Europe, which risks overlooking important perspectives. As a group, we agreed that we need a more inclusive methodology. We want to have response from parliamentarians worldwide. We would like also to have stronger tools to bridge the science policy divided. In response, members proposed particular solutions like creating a repository of consensus, policy-ready scientific briefs, and organizing virtual seminars tailored to the committee's needs. These are not just ideas. These are steps toward equipping parliaments to legislate in a complex, fast-changing world. The working group welcomed a contribution from Dr. Wallace Cheng of the Globe Ethics Foundation, who reminded us that science without ethics is incomplete. He praised the Charter on the Ethics of Science and Technology as visionary. He did as well spoke about the danger of misinformation, job displacements, and the growing artificial intelligence arms race. He urged us to champion artificial intelligence as a global common good, to support diplomacy and before competition. And we, the working group, is also very pleased that the second edition of the Science for Peace School will happen very soon. It will be in Jordan for parliamentary staff. There will be another Peace School held for parliamentarians in Vietnam this autumn. And let me also finally, in our final discussion, we reflected on recent global events from Davos to Paris. And all these are influenced by the artificial intelligence landscape and focus on ethics, social and political implication. Time is running very fast. So just to close my intervention here, I would like to thank the former chair of the group, Ms. Sahara Acha from Egypt. Her dedication as chairperson, her support have meant a lot for the efforts of the working group. But I would also like to thank all the members of the group who have ended their terms and welcome the new elected members. And I do also welcome the new elected vice chair, Mr. Nofadol Inna from Thailand, and I am very honored to have been elected as the chairperson of the working group. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair, for that presentation of the report of your working group. We really appreciate the great work that you're putting in it. Colleagues, I was looking at hands, but I haven't seen any. Do we take it that we approve the report of this working group? Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Madam Chair, for that presentation. We really appreciate the efforts. Colleagues, the Council is called upon to elect 2 members for the vacancies of the working... Sorry? 12 members for vacancies on the Working Group on Science and Technology for a 4-year term ending April 2029. We have received the following candidatures. Africa Group, Mr. Kamal, Algeria. Ms. Kadeumanga, Zimbabwe. Arab Group, Mr. Hashim Kari, United Arab Emirates. For the female, it's vacant. Asia Pacific, Mr. M. Ali, Maldives. For the lady, it's vacant. Eurasia, vacant. Group of Latin America and Caribbean. Okay, Ms. Nane, Uruguay. Mr. Monreal, Mexico. Then 12 plus, Ms. Chassot, Switzerland. Mr. Blondel, Belgium. Mr. Iluz, Israel. Colleagues, may I take it that you wish to elect these candidates as are presented to you? Thank you very much. It is so decided. Congratulations, dear colleagues. Colleagues, we are done with item 14 of our agenda. We will now go to item 15 of our agenda, which is reports on recent IPU specialized meetings. And on this one, colleagues, we will receive several brief reports, some of which are in form of short videos on a number of meetings you have approved at previous sessions. As usual, detailed information about these meetings and their outcomes are available on our IPU website and other channels. So we will start with the 10th G20 Parliamentary Speakers Summit, P20, that took place from 6th to 8th November in 2024 in Brasilia, Brazil. Technical team, please. The video. Colleagues, on your behalf, I would like to thank the Parliament of Brazil, meaning the Senate and the lower chamber, for their support for this meeting that took place there. But we are also going to watch a video on the IPU parliamentary meeting at COP29, which took place from 16th to 17th November 2024 in Baku, Azerbaijan. Thank you so much. And I would like to thank the Parliament of Azerbaijan for the support for this event. It was also one of the very good organized conferences. Colleagues, the next video report is on the Regional Conference for Parliaments of the Asia-Pacific region on global health security, which took place from 2nd to 3rd December 2024 in Bangkok, Thailand. Thank you so much, Thailand. Also the speakers for having put in place all these arrangements. We really appreciate. Now we will go to the video on the Third World Summit of the Committee of the Future, organized from 13th to 14th January 2025 in Santiago de Chile, in Chile.
Chile, quiero informar lo que fue la tercera cumbre mundial de Congresos del Futuro que se desarrolló en enero de este año en Santiago de Chile. Asistieron representantes de 23 países. ¿Cuál es la idea de fondo? Entender de que hoy día el ecosistema de Internet hace que en general el mundo público, el mundo político, funcione con solo requerimientos de corto plazo. Todo es aquí y ahora. Y creo que es importante dar espacio para pensar en el largo plazo. Por eso convocamos esta sesión junto con la OIP y acompañada de nuestro propio Congreso del Futuro que se realiza hace 15 años en Chile. ¿Cuál es la idea? Esa, pensar en el largo plazo. ¿Qué va a ocurrir con el envejecimiento del envejecimiento? ¿Cuáles son las enfermedades del futuro? ¿Cuáles son los trabajos que tendremos que prepararnos como humanidad a acometer y cuáles no van a seguir existiendo? Creo que fue una experiencia muy relevante. Creo que los congresos del futuro van a ser parte de la realidad de todos los congresos en los distintos países y esperamos haber aportado a hacer así una mejor convivencia en el mundo.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chile. We also appreciate the good work. So we now go to a video report again for the 2025 parliamentary hearing at the United Nations, organized from 13th to 14th February 2025 in New York, United States of America. This was organized between ourselves and the United Nations, but I would like to specifically thank the head of our IPU office in New York, Paddy. I don't know if she's in the house, but we appreciate the coordination. So now we are going to look at the video again about the parliamentary meeting in the context of the annual session of the United Nations Commission on the Status of Women that took place from 11th March to, 11th March 2025 in New York. And the parity objective is now widely recognized as the only way forward. What once seemed aspirational, it is now a fundamental benchmark for democratic legitimacy.
We need leaders who foster conditions for progress. We need more speakers. We need more presidents.
Let's take this map back home, not as a static snapshot, but as a roadmap for change. Because 30 years after Beijing, the world is still waiting for the full promise of gender equality to be realized. And we cannot afford to wait another
30 years.
Women in politics experience challenges in relation to deep fake videos, disinformation, and tech-facilitated gender-based violence, all of which places significant pressure on an already underfunded campaign.
Pour moi, les priorités sont surtout consolider les droits acquis. Il y a un risque de perte de droits de la part des femmes et des filles.
Pero la paridad no es una cuestión solamente de
When we talk about gender equality, women empowerment, legal framework and legislations that empower women and girl child, it's about humanity. It's about us. It's not about culture. It's not about tradition, but it's about progress. It's about the development of the world.
Sharing ideas, sharing programs, sharing whatever is going to boost us, sharing what is taking women up. I think it's important. We should be having forums like this now and again because we need to share ideas. We cannot be isolated as countries. We need to come together time and again.
Thank you so much once again, those who were able to attend.
She presented already. It's Cynthia's meeting.
So, okay, so the other report was already presented by Cynthia, dear colleagues, as you were requested. So, do we approve the reports on which have just been presented to you, all of them? Thank you very much. The reports are approved. So now we go to item 16 of our agenda, which is any other business. Colleagues, we have not received any request to take the floor at this moment. Otherwise, I would have opened the floor to whoever was requesting to take the floor. So, that said, I wish now to take this opportunity to close the 215th session of our Governing Council, and let me thank you all for your diligence and for the fact that you have been very keen in following up all the activities of the Governing Council from the first day that we met and today the second day. I really appreciate your commitment. Thank you so much for your participation, and thank you so much for all the leaders who had a chance to present here the reports. We really value your time. We value your investment in the work of IPU. We really appreciate all of you. Thank you. At the same time, colleagues, I would like to say I look forward to seeing all of you soon when we meet for the 216th session in Geneva in October 2025. That said, colleagues, the 215th session of the Governing Council is now officially closed. After that, I have one announcement, colleagues. We will resume not the Governing Council, this is already closed, but we will resume the assembly, the IPU assembly from 3:15. 3:15, we will resume here and we will all be ready for the agenda that is ahead of us. Please try as much as you can to be on time so that we also finish our assembly on time. Thank you so much. Have a good rest. Have a good afternoon. Good lunch. Bon appétit.